We are going live. All right. All right, we are live. You guys ready? All right, let's do it. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another session of the Gaba Club Podcast. You guys already know my name is Will. I'm the host of this show, the #1 Polynesian podcast in the world. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have a great show for you guys. We have a great panel of guests for you guys, and we will be having some guests joining us later on tonight. They'll be jumping on a little bit later. But thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching. Much love to you guys for watching every single night, every single Wednesday, and everybody out there, to all my followers, subscribers, people out there always support my channel. Thank you so much. If you love the content, love what I do, press and smash and like and subscribe button real quick. We have a great topic for you guys tonight, and we have assembled a great panel for you guys tonight. Assemble. All right, we have a great panel for you guys tonight to enjoy this show. Don't forget, we do have a disclaimer for everybody out there under the age of 18. Don't forget this, we'll be having real adult conversations, so this is for mature audiences. So my disclaimer real quick.
This content is not suitable for the children under the age of 18 without adult supervision. Please be advised.
So please be advised. So thank you so much. Don't forget, we got the live chat going. Let's get that live chat going. Let me hear your thoughts, opinions, and perspectives based on everything we're going to talk about tonight. And don't forget, this is a public show. A lot of you guys out there always want to be part of the conversation. Or a lot of you guys out there may agree or disagree. For all my haters out there, people get triggered by my content.
How dare you?
I always welcome you. Always welcome you to be part of the conversation. I do see one person. Oh, Panelist. I see you. Do you want to jump the conversation already? Just hold on real quick. Panelist. I see you on the waiting room. I'll add you on real quick later. Let me go through let me finish the introductions, get the guests going, and I'll add you on real quick. Thank you, Panelist, for trying to jump on. But it is a public show. I will post the link, the public Zoom link on the live chat. So if you guys want to be part of the conversation, just click on it, jump on, and just wait your turn. I'll be able to add you on. Don't forget, we do have the super chat donations. Everybody out there always supporting my channel financially. Thank you so much for all the super chat donations. Much love to you guys. Like I said, if you do want to ask a specific question, I always see a lot of people on the live chat, like you guys are asking questions, or you guys want us to discuss something live on the show, or you want to ask a specific question to a specific guest. So if there is a specific question, or you do have a topic that you guys want us to discuss live on the show, ask it through a super chat donation. And like I told you guys before, we'll be able to reciprocate that. So if you like this, if you love the content, want to support my channel fully with your pockets, show some love and ask it through a super chat donation. Much love to you. But that's pretty much it. We have a great panel of guests. We have a great topic for you guys tonight. I know a lot of you guys have been interested to hear what we guys are going to say, especially when it comes to the difference between how men and women deal with this topic. But I'll let the guests go ahead and introduce themselves real quick. So I'll ask also Terry Ahalele, I see you trying to jump on. So Terry, just wait real quick. I'll add you on later. Let me get through the introductions real quick. But go ahead, Langi. We have our newest guest right now jumping on for the first time. Welcome to the Gaba Club Podcast, Langi. So Langi, go ahead and introduce yourself real quick.
What's good? I'm Langi Ofa Aholele. I'm originally from Big Island of Hawaii, but I reside here in Utah. I'm 27 years old and I make art, tapa cloth art. But that's who I am.
All right, nice. All right. And Langi, anything you want to say to your haters, Langi?
Not yet.
All right.
But soon, stick around.
It's all good. I was trying to start some shit in the beginning. You know how we do on the Gaba Club Podcast. We keep it real. No worries. Thank you, Langi. I'll give a shout out to Langi real quick. Thank you so much for jumping on and being part of this conversation, this part of this podcast. So let's move it on to the ladies real quick. Go ahead, introduce yourself real quick. Malia, go ahead and introduce yourself real quick for everybody out there.
Hi, I'm Malia, aka Boss Lady Bubba. I'm on here just to talk some shit and see what everyone else is thinking about. But yeah, I'm here to stir the pot, and I'm hoping that people have the balls to come on and, talk their shit too. So let's have a good discussion.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Talk your shit. No worries. Thank you, Malia. Thank you for always jumping on. And like I said, if you want to talk your shit, click on that public Zoom link about the post and come on here and let's have a conversation. Let's have some respectable shit talking. All right. Keep it respectable. All right. I'll pass it on to Tui. Tui, go ahead and introduce yourself real quick.
My name is Tui Sina. Best person you'll ever see in this podcast. Like, everybody loves me. Nobody ever hates me. I recently quit my job, so I'm like jobless, one step above homeless. I totally know everything about relationships and like people, and I'm not a giant red flag. So tell your friends that are under 25, hey. Sorry, Will.
All right, so that's Tui saying hey to everybody out there. No worries. All right, Tui, thank you so much for jumping on. Always a welcome and pleasure to have you on the podcast and talking your shit. All right, and last but not least, the man, the legend, the myth himself, the Savage, Mr. Savage Island. Go ahead and introduce yourself real quick.
Yeah, definitely. What's up, everybody? Peace and honor to the ancestors who come before us. Yeah, straight up. The Bible is toilet paper to me, so fuck that bullshit. To anybody who don't follow what I follow, fuck you too. Straight up, from my heart to you. And if that triggers you by any way, that's what I'm trying to do. If there isn't a time where I'm trying to get canceled, or if I'm not already canceled, I'm either banned or trying to get shut down, I must be doing something right. And don't ask me about Ukraine and Russia. Don't ask me about any opinions on politics, because I'm going to straight up tell you, fuck the hell off. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that we get to the bottom of this, find some solutions. I love the modern woman. I love the modern man. I'm a married man, so I don't know what the fuck I'm doing here, but I know this for sure. We're definitely going to talk some shit on this panel. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, let the games begin. Holy fuck, I'm going to get canceled.
No worries, no worries. I said, no worries, Savage. And that's why I love it. That's why he's the Savage himself. Thank you so much, Savage, for always jumping on, Toko. And I'm just adding our new guests on here real quick to be part of the panel. Terry Ahalele, turn on your camera when you jump on. But yes, thank you so much. We have a great panel for you guys tonight. And of course, we have some more guests that's going to jump on later on the show. But let's get right into it. You guys already know the topic that we're going to discuss tonight. Do modern women know how to vet good quality men? So that's a topic for you guys. Malia was like, hell no. All right, so let me kind of give you guys a foundation of why I wanted to talk about this topic. A lot of you guys may not know, but I do a dating relationship sex podcast I do every single weekend. I talk to modern women and we have conversation about modern dating. And, one of the things I do notice when I have conversation with modern women, when they always talk about their failed relationships, when they always talk about attracting the same type of men, I do realize for a lot of these women, they don't have any clue when you ask them directly, specifically, how do they vet to find good quality men? They really don't know or have any awareness to know how to vet good quality men. So this is a great topic I wanted to bring up. I think it's an important conversation, whether you agree or disagree with me, but one thing I do value in my life is family and bringing people together. I think that's bringing people together and building great foundations in family. You know the saying, everything starts at home. That's just the first step, I believe, that can help society as a whole. So, but that's a question I realized, and for me, just might give you guys my thoughts real quick before I pass it on to the guests. I think one of the biggest reasons of why a lot of women don't know how to vet quality men, I believe, are just three main things. I think one of the great things, I don't know if you guys remember the traditional times and the modern times. I'm Tongan, so a lot of it is the panel on here are Pacific Islanders, but I remember back in the day, there was a vetting process. We had to go through the father, and when if a daughter wanted to date a guy, the guy had to come meet the family, meet the father, and there was a vetting process. And I believe that vetting process was crucial, and for women to get the perspective of men, because a lot of times when women deal with men, a lot of times because they're dealing with how they feel and their emotion, they can't vet their partner objectively. That's why the father was very important, because men we know how men think and we can call out each other's bullshit. So that's why the father was important, because he can have that real conversation one-on-one with your potential mate. And I do believe it takes a lot of courage for a man to approach your family, to approach you and come meet the family if he really has great intentions for you. And I do believe, because we removed that vetting process in the male perspective, in modern times, women could just go out there and choose any man they want without meeting the family, without going through a vetting process. And I do believe there's no longer a vital passage for a lot of men. A lot of men don't really have to prove themselves. You guys, I don't know if you guys remember the Tongan tradition when, when you come meet the family, you have to bring something, right? Do you guys remember that?
I don't speak.
Like, usually back in the traditional times, Savage, more the tradition than me, right? When the culture, when the man comes,
laws and shit, and presenting it in front of the house. Sadly enough, I didn't do that. I brought these.
Right, yeah. So, but there was a method behind that madness. Right? People might call that madness. A lot of modern women might see that as mad, but there was a method behind it, because it was for the man to show through actions, not words, that he was willing to bring some kind of value. That if he was willing to go out there and work to bring some kind of law or some kind of food or a pig or a crop, that means that he was willing to go out there and work for it and bring it to prove that he's a competent and responsible man. If the guy had no good intentions for you and had no work ethic, then he's not going to bring anything to you. So that vetting process and that vital passage was really, really important back in the day. And I think that's really, really important today. But we kind of removed that in modern times. So a lot of the times for women today, when they vet men, they don't expect the man to prove anything no more with his action. They don't expect him to provide any kind of tangible value to show that he's capable. Everything's through words. You just have to trust what he's going to say. And unfortunately, for a lot of women, they don't understand how men are. Men want sex. I know, news alert for a lot of women out there. Men want sex, and then some men are willing to work for it, earn it from you, and some men are not. So the men who are willing to take the path of least resistance, they're going to tell you everything you want to hear to get what they want and move on. That's why I believe a vetting process is really, really important. But unfortunately, we live in modern times. And like I said, if you decide to have sex with the wrong man or be partnered, get in a relationship with the wrong man, that has a lot of consequences towards you emotionally, spiritually, physically, mentally, and your future as a woman if you keep attracting the wrong men. So this is the topic why this is pretty much the topic why I brought up this topic. It's a very interesting conversation to have. I want to hear from the women. I want to hear from the men. I want to hear from you guys. I'm watching this live right now. Let me know what you guys think about the vetting process, or how do women and men vet good quality men. I want to hear you guys what you guys think. But that's just me. That's just my thoughts real quick. But I'll share more of my thoughts later on the show, because I want to get the guests real quick to share. And before I pass it on, Terry, Aholele, if you're watching this right now, if you do want to jump on, be part of the conversation, please turn on your camera. But so I'll pass it on to Langi. Langi, what are your thoughts? You're going to be to start off the show since you're our newest guest. I want to hear your thoughts real quick. But Langi, what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on the question at hand? Do modern women know how to vet good quality men? So what's your thoughts about the topic? Go ahead, it's all you.
I feel like, it does kind of depend. I feel like there are some women who do find like really good men, and lucky them. But then there's a lot of us who don't. We have to kiss a few frogs before we find our Prince Charming. And I feel like what you brought up is a pretty good point about, meeting with the father and stuff. But I also feel like there's a lot of men out there who would say the same thing. Like, they have a hard time finding a good woman. So I feel like the problem kind of goes deeper. And how I feel about it is that I think it's more of like a human issue with codependency, where if we feel like we need a man or we feel like we need a woman, then we end up kind of finding the wrong one sometimes out of desperation. I don't know. That's just from my own personal experience.
I feel it. I'm desperate right now. Hey.
and that's
you're single?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Red flags, welcome. I like blue ones too.
Okay. All right. I do want to ask you, Langi. So you said that you just gotta kiss some multiple frogs and hopefully you get your Prince Charming, right?
Like some of us have to, yeah. Like, cause men, they're good at lying and they'll put up a front for a long time. And us girls, we kind of get tricked. At least from my experience, that's what it's been like that.
What the reason why I don't believe men have a problem with the vetting process, I don't know if you guys heard that saying, women control access to sex, men control access to relationships. So the men have the power to determine if he wants to get in a relationship with you or not. So he can just choose if he wants to. So you're at the mercy of his intentions, if he's making it clear or not. So for a lot of women, like you have to hope that the guy picks you. But you have to. Whether you agree or disagree, but until he says you're my girlfriend, until he gets on the knee to propose, I want you to make you my wife, then it's up to his choice to do that. Unless if he doesn't do that, then that's not a long-term relationship. Then you guys are just maybe friends with benefits, something short-term. But so you have to make sure that if he does say, I want to be your girlfriend, I want to marry you, or you're in a situation where you don't know his intentions, then you have to be able to have a vetting process to be able to know that this guy is just bullshitting me, or this guy is just betting, is this guy's really serious about me, even though he may not have put that girlfriend title on you, maybe he hasn't proposed to you. But there are certain things, and then me and Savage will share our perspective, because there's certain things, because I understand men, how men think. There's certain things men do that for a woman, if you're aware of it, you will know that this guy is serious or not. And I think a lot of women today have no idea what that is. And you just gotta hope for the best. But like this, I don't believe hope is a strategy if you want to be successful. Like you have to have a method and a plan. So do you think there's a better method than just kissing frogs? Do you think that's just for all the women watching this right now, do you think that's just the way to go? Just kiss all the bad frogs and hope you're gonna find a good quality man? Or do you think there's a better solution, or there's a better way to go about it? And if you do believe it, can you share it?
No, I don't. To the Mormon Church.
I don't think that's the solution. I think that's just kind of what we end up having to falter to, I guess.
Oh, it's a quick way to marriage. I didn't say you would be happy. I said it's a quick way to marriage.
My personal belief is I don't think women need a man, period. I feel like it's not the problem, like with like, I feel like it's more of, we need to teach women their worth, that we really can do a lot of things on our own, that it's nice to have a man, it helps, but we really can do things by ourselves. And when women realize their worth, they're not going to settle for frogs.
Okay. All right. So you say women don't need a man? Like, yeah. Is that, you stand by that?
Yeah.
Okay. So so I'm just curious. So you would like to live alone your whole life, all the way to you're like 80, 90?
Yeah, I maintain my peace of mind that way.
Okay. Do you think that's, I mean, no, I understand that, but do you think that's like, I mean, is there part of you that said, if you had an option that you want to go alone and you want to be with a guy that really loves you, like, would you still choose the path of being alone? Or if there was an option, there was a guy that was out there that really loved you, would you still choose the guy?
Well, I feel like you have to be the person that you want in a partner first. And if you are content with being alone, then you'll attract the man that's content with being himself. So he's not going to use and abuse you, as opposed to like where you think that you need that other counterpart, where it's a necessity. And if you just let yourself know that it's not really a necessity, it's an option, then yeah, I believe that I would be able to open myself up to a partnership. But I feel like if I'm okay with being alone, like my own individual, I'll attract the man that's okay on his own too. And then we could be two wholes working together, if that makes sense.
Okay. Have you ever thought this way? Like you don't need a man, or where did this idea
This
come
was
from?
actually a thought pattern my dad taught me growing up, because he told me that men are dogs, and he was right. And the one time that I let my guard down for a man and thought that he wasn't a dog, turned out to be a motherfucking dog. So,
Okay.
So yeah, I now go back to my dad's counsel and believe my dad, and that's where I'm at now.
Do you believe there's good men out there, and there's not? I mean, I know you said that all men are dogs, but do you believe there's really good men out there?
I believe that, yeah, there can be, but it's rare. So I'm not in a rush, and I don't care to like go out of my way and search for that. I believe that if I'm just that person will come to me. And that's how I'll be able to distinguish. At least that's just what I believe. I'm trying to test it out. I don't know. We'll see.
I might have to borrow your dad. I need some vetting too.
Yeah.
All right. No worries.
Yeah, I gotta borrow your dad too.
No worries. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, thank you, Langi, for sharing. Yeah, I just wanted to understand where your perspective and your opinion and where you're coming from. All right, thank you so much. All right, yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. Thank you, Langi, for sharing your piece. Let me know what you thought. Let me know what you guys think about what she said. I'm interested to hear your feedback as well. And Terry, Ahalele, if you turn on that camera, if not, then I'll just put you back on the waiting list. I'll pass on to Malia. Malia, what's your thoughts, Malia, about the topic? What do modern women know how to vet good quality men?
So I think modern women do know how to vet a good quality man. But my opinion, I believe they choose not to. I think a lot of women, they think that they can change a man, so they'll curve like a good solid dude and then go for the piece of shit hoping that, he's going to change for them. Which majority of the time it doesn't happen. But I think a lot of times, women, modern women, I think a lot of times I don't know, I feel like their expectations are too high, or they're not willing to compromise when it comes to vetting a good quality man. But yeah, that's just my opinion. But I don't know. I think what Langi was saying about men being dogs. Langi, so I did mention in a different podcast, I think it was like men cheating. They are like dogs, and to be honest, like you have to train your man. You have to train your man on how to act, to be honest. And I think in a relationship too, you get to learn about that man. And I think a lot of people are impatient too. They expect that person to already be at their best without putting in that work and helping that person grow. So I think a lot of that has to do with women like falling short when it comes to choosing a man. But yeah, that's how I feel about that.
All right, no worries. Yeah. If you guys want to find out how to train your man, reach out to Malia.
Yes, I got How to Train Your Man 101 over here. Just kidding.
She got the prototype. All right. No worries. But yeah, thank you, Malia. I'm gonna pass on to Tui. Tui, what's your thoughts on tonight's topic? Do modern women know how to vet good quality men?
Malia, is your husband in the chat tonight?
No, he's not. I'm surprised.
Oh, that flam. Okay. I was like waiting to see some inappropriate shit, and I didn't see anything, and I was like, the fuck?
I know. Usually he's trolling on here, you guys.
I know, man.
Not tonight.
Anyway, modern women totally know how to vet men. Like, we know how to do it. Now ask me if I do it. Not all the time. Like, sometimes it's like, okay. So sometimes I just want to choose someone who I know is emotionally unavailable or like emotional damage, Like sometimes I don't want like to commit to anything right away. And so I'll choose these guys because I'm like, yeah, I don't have to commit to anything. So we're good. But then, like, okay. So if you really want to know like how to vet a good man, does he keep his word? Not on the big things, on the little things. Does he call when he says he's going to call? Does he show up on time? If you invited him to dinner with your family, did he bring something for your parents or for your family? Like, did he show up early? Does he open the door? Like, we know, if a guy's a piece of shit. Like, women are not stupid, but for some reason we play like we're the dummies. They must be from fucking Eva Beach. Just kidding. But anyway, that's my thoughts.
What I took from it, Tui, that you know how to vet men. You don't want to. Sometimes you use it, sometimes you don't.
Yeah, Like every woman does it. And if any girl says that she doesn't pick the emotionally damaged guy on purpose, is a fucking liar.
All right, emotionally damaged guy. I'm gonna put that down. All right. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of the live chat. I see you guys posting some comments. I'm interested to hear what you guys think. And if you love the content, press that like or subscribe button. Also, I just posted the public Zoom link. If you guys want to jump on and be part of the conversation, definitely jump on. And you can
Will's
add
lying.
on.
Will's lying. We don't care what you think. We just want to laugh.
I do. I do. But yeah, I'm gonna pass it on to Savage. Savage, what's your thoughts about tonight's topic? Do modern women know how to vet good quality men?
Like, I would hope so. Like, straight up, I would fucking hope. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not progressive if I have to showcase to my daughter what she has to look forward to. You get what I'm saying? Like, everything I think of whenever I get on topics like this, I think for my daughter now. I don't give a fuck about me and my wife, because me and my wife were good. I'm happy. I'm content with where we're at. But I think of the world for my daughter. You get what I'm saying? Like, this is gonna sound weird, but I think of the man that I'd like my daughter to date and try to put myself in her shoes, his shoes, and my shoes. How I would feel, how she would feel, how he would feel. And hopefully somewhere down the line that we would all come to an understanding that everything is through balance. He's not too much, he's not too little, she's not too much, she's not too little, but they're just enough for each other. But in a lot of ways, Langi said it very good. Trial and error. I hate this fairy tale of, you get out of high school or college and you just find the one. I call it the theory of the one and done versus this is the one, right? Some people, there's this fairy tale where, and I can say for us specifically coming from Tonga or Samoa, or just, from if we're immigrating from anywhere else, whether we're first generation, which is prominently where the most problem is the first generation, the second generation, the normalization of, oh, I thought that was the one, one and done. If it wasn't the first one, now every relationship you go into after is fucked. It's like, fuck, man. Well, I don't know if I got the skills to tell right from wrong. I don't know my moral compass anymore. Versus this is the one where it's like, okay, he wasn't it, and she wasn't that, and he wasn't it, she wasn't. Oh, okay. Well, we're kind of working it out. We're going through it. Oh, this is the one. You get what I'm saying? So in a lot of ways, you got to go through experience. You can't go off of everybody's secondhand information. If they, hey baby girl, listen, oh my God, he's got nice teeth, he's handsome, good money, big dick, and all this stuff. And all of a sudden, you get into the relationship, but he's an asshole. He's a dick of a person. This motherfucker's self-centered. You get what I'm saying? And that's usually the one and done cases, because 9 times out of 10, you didn't get the chance to experience for yourself. And so then you end up stepping out of your marriage because you missed your hoe phase, which we all, I believe, I advocate for the hoe phase. We all need a hoe phase at one point in time, because I got to tell you, the movie Knocked Up with Seth Rogen and the other lady, fucking forgot her name, came out 2007, right? That was the friends with benefit era. I had too many friends with benefits. So I was happy. I was in content. We were all look, I'll tell you right now, statistically, undefeated wise, I think every girl I ever had, I was friends with benefits, we're all married and we're happy. We all follow each other on Facebook. Because, we did the thing, we did the deed, and we understood, hey, you're not for me, but I appreciate the sex. Thanks. It was very good. Thank you for taking me out to Taco Bell. Everything was good, but you're not the one I saw in the long run. And it was, hey, cool, thank you, good. We all went through the experience. Now I know this just wasn't it for me. Versus, oh, she's such a nice church girl. You have to go with her to church next Sunday and, meet her parents. And next you come to find out, oh, this bitch is freaky as fuck. She been with every dude at the fucking church. What the fuck? You get what I'm saying? And those cases usually happen. And it's a tough grind, but I would say experience should be more to the vetting of women. If a woman can vet, let it be experience. Don't go off what your friend says, your mom says, your dad. You go fuck it up. Fuck it up. Because at the end of it, the result should be, I'm done fucking around, man. You know what? Let me settle down. Let me come back to earth. And hopefully wherever I'm at in the meantime, in between time, I find the one or the one finds me. That's really what it should be. And I hope that the modern woman, if you're listening, or if you already know already, that stay you, do you. All money in, no money out. The marathon continues. So with that being said, fuck it up.
All right, no worries. All right, thank you, Savage. I do have some super chat donations from Fatty. Thank you, Fatty, for the super chat donation. Quick answer: no. Can close the stream. They close the stream now. Water women don't know how to do it. End of story. The stream is over. And then Fatty, another one. Thank you so much. I said Tui is 100% right. Most women know they are with a bad guy. They just love plausible deniability because that way it's never their fault if things go south. Oof. Oh, he dropped some knowledge right there. All right. Hey, Savage, let me ask you real quick, Savage. Because I know you did mention I know you do have a daughter. Because you went through your whole phase and you understand how men think and how we operate and what we're capable of when we just want sex out of a woman, nothing else, nothing less. Because we understand that mentality and we're both men here. Are there things that you teach? Are there things that you share with her, like to understand, like to share with her so she can use that knowledge for herself when she decides to go on her own experience, like to share that about men? Do you tell her things about men? Hey, this is how we think. This is what we do. Make sure she knows so that way she's prepared when she decides to go out. And what are those things do you share to her? If you do, I'm just interested to hear.
So my oldest daughter is 9 years old, and I tell her private part is her most important place, and don't let nobody fool you. I have to disclose that to her and be so blunt with it because in today's climate, I don't care if it's my brother, I don't care if it's my cousin, my uncle. It is possible in any family that situations can arise to where molestation, sexual assault, rape, any of that can occur. And I don't want to be too safe to think, oh, my family would never do that, because usually in cases, majority of the time it's within the family. Yep. But I showcase and let her know in that manner, like, know the difference when you're in a room full of boys versus when you're in the room with the girls. Notice when you're in the room with adult men versus when you're in a room with the boys your age. You get what I'm saying? I try to normalize that as much as I can so she understands the depths of identification. If she can identify that, she will be able to navigate in the world. I know this very well because I come from the experience of being a hound dog. Look, listen, yes, men are dogs, but for the ones that are still being strays, I became loyal. I stuck to my wife because my wife made me a loyal dog. Ain't a problem with that. I claim that. I hold true to that. But for the men who usually get up and try to, the modern women doesn't know what she's vetting. Dog, when you have a daughter, keep that same energy. Keep that same energy, because I promise you, when you have your daughter, you're gonna be paranoid 24/7. You can't delay the inevitable. For the man that you think you are, just imagine if your daughter dates him. It's a fucked up world, but that's just how it is. And so I wouldn't want to hold my daughter back in a lot of ways. I would just like to guide her. And at the end of the day, wherever the cards may fall, I would hope that anything I taught her, she uses for her own understanding. But I'm not going to hold her back because I know what that did to my sisters.
All right, no worries. I know your daughter's still 9 years old, but when she does become an adolescent, becomes an adult, are there things that you will share to her about men, like this is, if this is a sign or this is a red flag, if a man's playing you or wasting your time, like what things would you share not only for her, but there's a lot of women watching this right now. As a man coming from a man, like what do men do that women should be aware of that is a red flag to showcase that he's probably wasting your time and probably not a good quality man?
So I would just use this as an example. My mom often, gave lectures. My aunties gave lectures to the girls in my family, and I speak and shit on my sisters. I love them to death, and I would die for them. But, hey, don't do that. Close your legs when you sit in. Don't be around the boys. Don't talk like that. That makes you look like a whole fokishi, whatever the fuck it is. You know what I'm saying? And these are terms that in their generation, it applied. This no longer applies here. And so why that's problematic to me is like, as many times as you told my sisters not to get pregnant, it ended up happening. And when it ended up happening, you didn't leave their side, but you carried the brunt of the shame of, well, my daughter's pregnant, what can I do about it? But it was because you held her back more than you let her go. I would believe that to be you removing the experience. In a lot of ways, it's like, you are the actual cause of why they went down that road. So why would I do the same thing to my daughter? In a sense, like, you tell them to not touch the stove too many times until eventually they do touch the stove. Now they know why. That's called experience. You acquire that knowledge. In the same way, if I told you, be careful of those boys, I'm only telling you. I warned you now. So when you gain the experience of why not to, just know I did that out of love, but I didn't stop you. So, for men who believe that, oh, you got to give the signs. Look, I can give the signs. I ain't going to hold her hand. She's got to go out there and go through it at the end of the day, because in that way, it's like, Daddy, you were right. I know, baby, but, I just wanted you to see it for yourself. So you knew I wasn't trying to, lie to you or anything like that. Because I'll be honest, man, I'm 33 years old. My parents didn't teach me shit. I had too many pregnant scares because of dumbass didn't know how to fucking pull out. And nobody really gave me any fucking insight on condoms. But for the times I went through it, I wish I could go back and tell those women I'm sorry. I was immature. I was inexperienced. I was stupid as fuck. But I can't. And that's the deed. And I don't want that to happen to my daughter. But at the same time, I feel like I'd be pushing her into it if I tried to hold her back.
I'm not talking about holding her back. I do agree with you on the sense that from our generation of raising kids, I'm not going to raise them the same way my parents raised me. Raised me was like black and white. Don't do this, don't do that, right? I'm going to teach them and guide them in the right path, but ultimately they're going to have to make their own decisions for themselves. But I do want to give them the tools. I do want to give them the tools so they are aware, so they have the tools that I necessarily, you said that you had no idea what the fuck you were doing. You just had to learn the hard way. So at least we could give them the tools. So if they happen not to use the tools, like Tui said, like, they know what to do, and they decide not to do it, don't. But then for many women out there, if they know this information, if they know that they have a tool, they might not make that choice and be able to avoid that situation and still find a good quality man. So like that's what I'm saying. I'm not talking about holding them back. Like because like I said, if you hold them back, they're gonna be more rebellious, especially for young people, the more rebellious they're gonna become, and they're gonna go out and do it anyway behind your back. So, but I'm talking about like, hey, do whatever you want to do, but just be aware of this. I just want you to give you this information, these tools, so so you can recognize these things. But ultimately, baby, this is gonna be your choice. You're the own woman. You have to make your choices for you. But I'm gonna love you no matter what choice you make. I'm still gonna love you. But at least you have some kind of confidence, like they're prepared, that they have some, they know they have some kind of reality of what's going on in the real world, and they'll have to go out there and find the hard way.
Yeah, definitely. At that case, I mean, we haven't got to that conversation yet because she's only 9. But she hasn't mentioned anything about boys.
No, I'm just talking about like when she gets older, and for the women right now that's listening, like what information would you give them about men to understand? So kind of give them a tool about a red flag.
I would definitely give her surface level shit, like keys and body language, body mechanics, how men behave and stuff. That much I can give. But as far as the other part, I think my wife dives into that better than I do, because my wife would know better from experience than I would. But as far as from the men's perspective, maybe these are the things to look for. Yes, I can definitely give that dialogue when it's time.
Okay, no worries. All right. Let me know what you guys think. I know Siaosi, thank you for jumping on, Siaosi. I know you're about to jump on right now. Anybody else? So Langi, do you have something to say, Langi?
Yeah, I agree with Savage. Like, because I had a really great relationship with my dad. I was taught all the tools and told like what to see in a bad guy, and I still ended up meeting a lot of people that weren't good for me. And it was only through my actual experience that I was like, oh, that's what they were talking about. Oh, that's what this meant. I thought I knew what it was until I actually experienced it. And that's when I knew for sure, like, okay, that's a real red flag, is this. Like, it really does come with experience, at least to me. But a lot of reason why women stop themselves is because of this shame culture about like being a hoe or like a fokisi, like he said. Like, they'll label you anything. Like, even if you're just a girl just trying to get experience, like you can tell a girl all the bad signs with a man and she'll, like Tui said, disregard it and choose it anyways. Like, we just have a natural ability to want to heal the broken, and so we're going to ignore that sign anyways until we actually experience that heartbreak, and then it lets us know, okay, you can't go after that. But that's what I think. Yeah,
Langi, I know you said your dad told you, like, shared you some tools. What did he share? What were the tools that he specifically shared to you about boys and men?
he was basically trying to teach me more about what I can do as a woman, that I should never be financially dependent on a man. Even if I'm married, I should be independently financially stable on my own. That I can take care of myself without a man, and that a man should add value to my life rather than me feeling like I have to actually stress out over something just to keep it together.
You said value. So you said if a man adds value to your life. So what does value mean? How does a man show value to you?
Everything outside of money, outside of home, food, shelter. My dad always told me, if you can create your own home, you can get your own money, you can like provide for yourself, what then can a man give you? And that's when he made us, focus on values, like things like discipline or honesty, because it's not common to find a man that's honest.
Okay. All right. No, so just based on what I listened to what your dad gave you, he still didn't give you any tangible advice. That's a very generalized advice. So like he said that he never, for me, like he didn't give you anything specific to look for, especially knowing. But that's what is like, that advice is that's not a process of vetting men. Does that make sense? So like he said, you don't need a man, but then you still, you had a bad relationship and you still picked a bad quality guy. So that advice didn't really do anything. For me, just listen to what you say. That wasn't good advice, or that wasn't something that wasn't a vetting process he gave you.
Not necessarily.
Can I weigh in? Oh yeah, no, go ahead. One real quick. You said that you don't need a man and you can take care of yourself financially. I think one of the biggest indicators to show that a man is competent in his ability to take care of you financially. His ambitions, his ability to take care of you, like the way a man must be able to take care of you financially. That's one thing a woman should look for, to separate the guys that are able to be responsible and the guys that are just bums and lazy as fuck. You have to be able, a man has to prove to you that he's financially independent. And if you don't look at that, because you know what, I can do everything on my own, I can support myself, and you don't look at him, then that's one of the reasons why a lot of times women will choose men that are lazy, bums, have nothing going on, they have no responsibility. Because in order to be financially independent, in order to be financially ambitious, there has to be some kind of, you have to be at some point be disciplined, you have to be at some point be consistent, and at some point you have to have some kind of work ethic. Those are all characteristics that's necessary for a guy to be financially competent and stable. And if we tell women don't look at that, just take care of yourself, but you don't have to worry about that a man because you can handle yourself. I think personally that's one of the reasons why a lot of women today have babies with guys in the hood and the guys in the bums and nothing going on for themselves. And
hey, holy shit, is that the criteria? Like, is that literally the criteria?
No, I didn't say criteria. I said that's one of the most. It's one of them. There's a couple.
Oh no, I hear you. I was like, fuck. But I'm glad I'm out the fucking game, man.
I'm just saying is like, at the end of the day, like if a guy can't take care of you financially, then why do you like why do you need that guy? Like he can't even hold on. You can't even stand on his own 2 feet. So he's gonna be relying on you because you have all the money because you're financially independent yourself. So you're gonna be with a guy that's gonna be relying on you, and you guys already know this. You're gonna be with a bum. And then is that the type of men that women really want? That's just a question I want to ask.
They do on the west side of Walk. I'm just kidding. Well, kind of, not really.
Tui, yeah, say Tui, yes, I'm just saying.
Okay, so I just want to weigh in on what Langi said, because our dads and my brother actually, like, they all know each other. And she was there when I got married to my husband. Yeah. So I just remember this, my dad telling me this. So I was adopted. So I have two dads, right? But my dad, like, they both said the same thing because they're old school and they're Samoan. And they had this conversation that said, because they didn't like my husband because he was white. But my dad said that how you can really tell if you have a good man is if he knows how to fix things, like at least one thing. He needs to know how to fix something. You can tell by the texture of his hands if he's a good worker, and if he listens to you and he he knows how to have a conversation with you. Like if that's a man that can put you at ease and put you in your place at the same time, you know, like that's the man for you. But like, you know, they're super like Samoan old school. So, but I feel like I understood what Langi was trying to say. Like it was like along those lines, right? Because our dads were the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly what my dad would tell me too, if he can fix things. I still disregarded that advice, but
yeah. And like if my dad was hardcore, if a man cannot take care of himself, he cannot take care of you. You know, that's the basics. So like all women know the basics of what a good man entails, but you know, like nowadays women require so much more, and they're not looking at the basics. They're looking at, you know, everything at, I don't want to say face value because that's not what I mean, but they're looking at things that don't matter, you know? And so they don't really, I feel like we know what we're looking for, but you know, we're women, so we're fickle.
No, but that's the thing. Like, I do notice there's a because of very modern women, you know, modern women today, they have the ability, which I respect, to go out there and earn their own money. So
Yeah.
there's no longer this reliance on men, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. But when it comes to vetting men, I think it is important that a man should be able to be financially able to be competent and stand on his own 2 feet.
Oh yeah, like
a lot of
basics.
Basics, right? But the thing is,
basics.
but that's the thing is, for a lot of women, would say something like what Langi would say. I make my own bag. I don't care if a man makes money. And then, but then when they get with these men, and then they complain about these men having no work ethic. They complain about these men having no ambition, having no drive. But you knew that beforehand when you chose him, when you knew that he wasn't financially competent. Now you got with him, and now you're complaining, right? But like I said, that's why I said that's one of the primary things women should be looking for vetting process before you decide to partner up or have sex with a guy. Look at his financial stability and his competence, right? Is he willing to stand on his own 2 feet? Can he take care of himself? Is he be able to? Because you can't take care of yourself. How are you going to take care of another person, especially a significant other? And how are you going to take care of a family if you can't even handle on your own 2 feet? People that are stable financially, they have some kind of work ethic, drive, ambition, responsibility, consistency. Because in order to build financial stability, that means you're consistently waking up every single day and doing what you need to do to achieve that. If men don't show that, then that's just inconsistent men. That's just men that have no drive, no ambition, no responsibility. If they're not taking care of themselves financially, and if we remove that from the vetting process, because modern women today think that I can do everything on my own, I don't need a man, and I don't need him to show that I can make money because I have my own money, then I think that's one of the reasons why many modern women today, as financially stable as they are, as successful as they are, they still pair up with like bums.
Can I make a comment on something?
Oh, go ahead, Savage.
So, like, you know, to me that sounds like classification, because if that's the case, then the modern woman is categorical, whether in America, Asia, Tonga, wherever the case you might go to. The modern woman is going to vary in different places, because the modern woman in Tonga is very simple. I'll be honest. That's not me talking shit, but it's very simple. There's not much to look forward to because of the exposure in Tonga. There's not much that they're looking forward to other than to find a man, get a home, have some kids, and let him go work. This is the truth of the matter. It still reigns today. It's 2022, and that's still modernized. However, in America, where we find more of this common, you know, subjects where, you know, the modern woman is able to succeed without the man, then, you know, really it's a societal thing. It's perspective, really, because if that's the case, then the modern woman in America is really a small percentage compared to the global scale, if that's the case. Because I would say successfully, the modern woman is really actually doing a good job, because, you know, we're overpopulated, actually. So if that's the case, I would just go off that statistic and say, you know, if we're talking about the modern woman in America, you know, maybe she's too independent. But I would say, like, on categories and place to place, that's hard to call. That's really hard to call, because the vetting process would be different, in which I would believe. I don't know the men in New Zealand would be the same as the men in Australia or the same as in America. So, you know, what we're trying to, you know, apply for in women is different across the board, I would think. Unless you're trying to be adventurous and, you know, you're an American man trying to get at a New Zealand woman, hey, more power to you.
Okay, no worries. All right, thank you for sharing
Yeah.
that. Thank you for sharing, Savage. And what's up, Daniela? Hey, thanks for jumping on.
Man, you guys got me triggered in the bloody comment section, eh?
But let me do some chats real quick. Shout out to Fatty. Fatty said, Savage, by you being there, no matter what, don't you think we are enabling bad behavior? Do women need consequences so they can get their head straight? And Daniel Pita, thank you so much. Savage is giving terrible advice. Please listen to Will and get your life together. Put in the same effort you put into your jobs into men. All right. Thank you so much.
Who's Daniel Peter? Hey, Daniel Peter. That's why I'm married. And if I wanted to, I could bring your bitch in my house too, and we can run that train. It'll be me and my wife, and your wife too. So straighten your shit out, because I got 4 kids, a wife, my own place. Everything's good. I'm the TikTok success. Know your role and shut your mouth. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. You want advice? Quit with that little dick energy. It's not my fault with your little ugly ass, I don't know, uncircumcised, fucked up of a personality. You want to come up and talk all this good shit? Straight up, dog. If you don't know who I am, there's a reason why my name is Savage Island, and I ain't talking about the savage part. But ask your wife about me. She should know.
All right.
Hi, Taniela. I missed you.
Hey.
All right, no worries. All right, Daniela. Yeah, Daniela, you've been hearing the conversations we've been having about the modern women know how to vet good quality men. You heard the women and their perspectives, and yeah, what do you think, Daniela? Share your piece.
Let's not branch off Western society. I think this podcast is more aimed towards women in Western society, in the sense that we are facing a lot of issues in society as men and women, and the relationship that we have with each other. So let's try and keep it within that spectrum, because if we delve out of that into, you know, third world countries and whatnot, they run through a very different criteria in how they run their process. Most of them are traditional in some sense. Some of them go very there's some cultural vetting systems that they apply in place. I mean, look at Africa. There's very, very many different ways women vet men and men vet women in a sense. So that doesn't apply in this conversation. The other thing too, in any Western society, every man is the same in terms of what you need to vet for as a woman. And I always preach this. There's only 2 qualities. Everything else you can build on top of that. First one, he's accountable. The guy is accountable for everything that he does. That's the first one. If you find a man with accountability, he is going to build some great foundation with you. The second one is resilience. Someone who's gone through some really shitty experience and come out of it a lot stronger than what he is currently. So regardless of whether it's New Zealand, the US, Australia, whatever, you find a man who's accountable for his own actions and is resilient, has gone through some lived experience, you've got a guy that you can build almost anything with. He will get up every morning and go to work. He will work the 9 to 5. Whether he's ambitious or not, he will be there, accountable for the shit that he puts up with you, and learn how to love you as a person. Most men don't come perfect. We don't come as a full package of love, catering, emotional availability, whatever. Like what Malia was saying, she's had to work with her man to get to a place where they can both agree on certain scenarios. But those 2 qualities alone, for me, any man who possesses those qualities is a great man to start with. And not only that, when we speak on this thing about the hoe phase and whatnot, I completely disagree when it comes to women. The science prove it. And not only that, my experience with my wife, my experience with the men that I counsel through construction, most women who go through a hoe phase are more insecure than they put out to be. They create more problems in long-term relationship. I mean, you know, you can be strong and independent as a woman, but being an adult is a completely different thing. You can earn your own bag. You can have your own place. You can have your own money. That's called being an adult. But being strong and independent to claim that you don't need a man because you've had a bad experience with a stupid idiot who's probably haven't built a value does not give you the right to classify every man as dog shit. Especially if you look up to your father for advice. You're essentially saying that your own father gave you shitty advice and he's also part of that, right? So accountability, be accountable. If you've been with dude that was not great for you and put you through some really bad experience, be accountable for it. It was your choice to be with that person. Don't classify every man as someone who is basically a class or group who don't have good quality, who don't have value. What we see on social media does not reflect the vast majority of men who are out in society, building things and looking after children. You know, working the 9-to-5 job, 2-3 jobs at a run. You know, most of these men are not even on social media. So if you want to classify things, look down at your own process and criteria. If you've been given great advice of how to look for a man and you didn't follow it, hey, whose fault is it? So that's where my whole input is.
All right, no worries. All right, thank you, Taniela. I do want to add on to it, but I want to give everybody a chance to respond to what Taniela said. Anybody want to respond to what Taniela said? Go ahead, Langi.
I see where he's coming from, but at the same time, earlier when I first answered the question, I was talking about how it's still not a thing about gender, that it's a codependency issue as to why we keep running into the wrong person. Like we feel like we need somebody when we don't. Like in reality, men don't need women and women don't need men, but we help each other and we make each other better. And so I still stand to my dad's advice that I don't need a man, I can still be independent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, do you think that there may be kind of like extreme advice?
No.
That you don't need a man and all men are dogs? Just to repeat what you said, you know, all men are dogs. Don't you think like that's like very extreme advice?
I feel like all men are dogs until proven not a dog.
All right. Do you think it would have been better to like say, you know, there's good men out there, there's bad men out there. Just be accountable and know what to look for and make a good choice. Because to say all men are dogs, it's like saying that like everything you do in life is gonna be a failure. And it's just, for me, it's just the way I interpret it. It's very unhealthy and toxic advice to give to people. When, like I said, just bringing it back to people. Hey, there's, like I said, the world is, let's be honest, the world is full of shit. We're full of fucked up things, full of terrible things. But there's also the opposite, the yin and the yang. There's positive, there's negative. There's bad people out there, men and women, but there's also good people out there. Mm-hmm. But to label everybody all in one category, instead of just saying, hey, there's good things, there's bad things, just be aware. These are things to look for, vet them out, make good choices. If it doesn't work out, learn from it and move on. But instead of saying that all people are the same, or if you have one bad experience, because you did say that you had a bad relationship and you just like to, you know, fuck all of this, everybody's the same. That's like, for me, it's like, it's very like, well, no, I'm saying, you didn't say the F word, but I was just saying you have a bad relationship and all men are the same. And then don't you think that's a very unhealthy way of looking at life? When you may be focusing all on the negatives, that you're overlooking all the good, or maybe overlooking all the good things that can attract your way, all the good men. What do you think?
No, I do believe that there are good men out there, and I also believe that there are bad men out there. I also believe that there's good women and there's bad women. It's being okay that you can live life by yourself. I don't know why people are afraid with that reality, that you can do life by yourself. But if you do happen to find someone else that can do life by themselves too, then you guys would work better together. That's all I'm saying. Like there's men, like I said in the beginning, there are men out there who also would say that it's hard to find a good woman. That they would say all women are bitches, while we say all men are dogs. So like,
no worries.
Both ways.
No, I totally agree. I totally agree with that. About to comment to you. I do hear a lot of men say there's a lot of hoes out there. There's a lot of bad women out there. But I rarely hear men say, I don't need a woman. Like that's usually the rhetoric I hear from women. So for me, like, I know there's I've had my bad experiences. Like I've had my bad experiences. I'm an independent man. I can stand on my own 2 feet, but I will never say I don't need a woman. I know I need a woman because I want children, I want a family, I want a future. And in order for that to happen, it requires a woman. So I will never say I don't need a woman. I can do everything on my own. Which is I know it's not true, because deep down I want a partner. And for me, for a lot of people that say that I don't need a man, I just have a feeling that a lot of that comes from a very bad experience or place when deep down, or if you get older, like eventually you're gonna need a long-term partner, because I do believe we were created to be together. Savage, you have something to say?
Yeah, you know, it's absolutely funny because, you know, during this whole conversation, what absolutely grabbed me was like this whole idea or perspective of westernization. You know what's very common with westernization? Science. You know what sucks about science? It's secondhand information. You can acquire firsthand information because if you can run the experiment yourself, then you can know for yourself. But when people pay too close to the statistics and the studies, you end up removing yourself from the experience because you want to listen to what they say. So, say for instance, you ask a question such as, "How does a woman vet a good man?" Ask the woman. Ask the woman in your community. Ask the woman, particularly in your local area, because it's not going to apply worldwide. Like even right now, as we're having this conversation, that's the reason why I classify. Because if we don't equate the modern woman across the whole world, then it's a Western world all around. You get what I'm saying? We should really consider what is modern about the woman. And if that's the case, what we're really giving here is just kind of, I don't know, just really just perspective or opinion really in that case. And I honestly have to say, I don't think we're going to find a solution. Honestly, if that's the case. I'm just glad I'm out the game, honestly speaking, from where I'm at, because for the men who want to stick to the studies, bro, you're never going to get in the dance. You're never going to get up off the wall because you want to pay close attention to these numbers, but you don't even understand there are men out there in the third world countries just out there doing it. And if they're what we would consider kind of back in the day or more primitive now, more in modern days, that's absolutely sad because that's based on your perspective. And if that's the case, well, bro, look at it from a different angle if that's the case. So I would just say this whole thing about westernization, if the modern woman is anything, is that she is cognizant of who she is and what she wants. That's what I would believe. But apparently that's not the case here.
Okay. All right. But yeah, but just in the context of the modern women, I'm just gonna to make the conversation a lot easier. We're just focused on the Western, because we all in America, and it's Taniela's in New Zealand. That's still a Western country. Yeah, Malia, you have something to say. Go ahead, Malia.
So I just want to say, I don't believe that all men are, ain't shit. I do believe that there are good men out there. I just think it just takes some effort, to be honest, to give that man a chance to prove themselves to be good. And I think if you do find a solid man, they are willing to change their ways or they're willing to compromise to make it work. I think a lot of times women mistake this fantasy in their head that everything has to be perfect and whatnot, but you really just have to work and find the middle ground to see what makes the relationship work for you too. And like you said, like yin yang, you got to see the good and the bad and the bad and the good. That's really just balance in life in general. But yeah, I think it just, as far as vetting, you really just have to, you got to have some game too. Don't get too caught up in the honeymoon phase. You really gotta get to know that person, really find out what their flaws are, find out what makes them tick, because that'll really show somebody's true colors, and you'll find out fast if that person is who they really are. But as far as I just have to disagree with you, Langi, as far as saying you don't need someone. I do feel you need companionship. Everybody needs companionship, whether it's with a significant other or just another human being, but everyone needs companionship. And I honestly believe you attract what you put out there. So you how you are, that's what you're gonna attract. So if you're a piece of shit, you're gonna attract a piece of shit. But that's just my that's my opinion.
Hey, can I address what Fatty said? I'm so sorry. Fatty's triggered right now. He's emotional. Fatty, listen,
yes,
I understand, dog. Listen, Fatty, if that's the case, if it's too tough to find the modern woman in your society, maybe you should move to that third world country. Because if you believe in stepping up, brother, you should step down.
Yeah.
All right.
Philippines,
You know what?
brother.
Fatty's on the. I'm gonna add him right now. So you guys can have a direct conversation. But yeah. Anybody else want to add on to what
Yeah.
said? Go ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead.
You go too.
Go ahead, Tui.
I'm just gonna say, like, speaking from a societal standpoint in any society, I mean, you do need men to survive, for any society to survive. But I think, Langi, how old are you?
27.
27. Yeah. So I think around your age group, so from like 22 to about 29 right now, your age group is going through this thing where not that you want your cake and eat it too, not that, but it's like you don't realize that you don't need anyone realistically, because, you know, humans are singularities, but you are going to want someone, you know? And I understand what you're saying, but what Malia said is so true, that everyone needs companionship. And with your age demographic, it's really hard for you guys right now to vet good men and women because of the poor examples that you guys have been given. Like media wise, society wise, like third wave feminism has kind of fucked up our society to a point where we're telling, oh God, I brought it up again. Fucking feminists.
Go on,
Anyway.
Go on.
Go ahead.
So,
Do it. Drop it.
Yeah. So third wave feminists have fucked up our society to a point, telling women that it's the patriarchy that we have to nail, like the patriarchy of society. But really we wanted, you know, equality within our rights to do the same things as men. But women don't understand nowadays, especially, that we don't really want to be equal to men. Like if you want to go out into if you want to join the military and do the same thing that men do, you know, on that field when they go into war, you know, like if you want to go into construction and lift some of the shit I've seen these guys lift, like you can get paid the same, you can do it, but realistically, like we cannot be held to the same standards as a man. I'm not talking to you specifically, Langi, I'm just talking in general. But, you know, we can't, like women want to hold ourselves to a man. We want to, you know, we present ourselves the same way a man would present themselves to us because we think that that's what a man wants. And when it's not what the man wants, we create this story in our head that men are horrible because, you know, we're giving them what they give us and they're not accepting it. But like, we don't understand that that's not like, they don't want another man, you know? And that's how we act. Like I have very masculine energy. Yeah. Like I'm a masculine chick, you know? And so like, it's not attractive to like most men, but like some fucking love me. Okay, that's all.
Yeah. No worries. Thank you too for sharing that. It's like, Elaine, I have a quick question. Do you ever
Out of my ass.
Feminists come for Tui. He just called you out. But Langi, I want to ask you, like, do you at this point of your life right now, do you ever look at like relationships or marriages between men and women and just look at them and be like, man, I want that. Does that ever cross your mind, or do you ever feel sometimes like that?
I think it's a want. I just don't think it's a necessity. But that is something that I would want. Like my parents have a great marriage. I know a lot of people who have great marriages. I don't think we need it, but I think if we want it, it comes naturally. Okay.
But so if you had a choice to live alone by yourself and live with a healthy, loving husband, would you still pick by yourself, or would you pick the loving husband?
If he was loving, yeah, and could add more value to my life as well, yeah. I don't think I'm not closed off to it. But it's like what Tui said, it could be like my age too. Like at this age, I feel like we're finding ourselves and all we want to do is be with our own energy and ourselves and see who we actually are so that we know what we like. And that's kind of where I'm at. That's the point of view I'm coming from. That at this point, like, I don't need a man because I'm trying to find myself, type of thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, the way for me is just like if it's something that you truly want, then don't you think that the kind of the white, when you say I don't need a man, when it's something that deep down that you want, don't you feel like that's like contradicting what you're saying externally when internally that's something that you want?
No,
Okay.
because I guess it's how we define the terms want and need. Like, I feel like need is like, we need it for our survival, whereas wanting it is you just want it. You can go with
Yeah,
it.
okay. No worries. No, I was just saying like for me, like I want to be successful, right? But imagine, like, I'm just trying to I want to paint the logic for you, so like for people to understand. This is the way I see it, because I want to be successful, but I tried my first business venture, it failed, and then now after my first failure in my business, I'm going out there telling people I don't need success, I don't need to be in business anymore. But even though deep down I want to be successful, but I had a bad experience. So don't you? For me, it just seems like the way I interpret it, and she did something I do see with a lot of women, because I have this conversation with a lot of women every single weekend. It's just something that they want, but because of a bad experience, they classify it as something they don't need.
Yeah.
Because of that bad experience, when it's just something that you could just move on from and say, you know what, I had a bad experience. I still need a man. I still want a man. And don't you think that it wouldn't? Do you think that's okay? Wouldn't that be okay to say, hey, I need a man and I want a man, even though I just had a bad experience, instead of just saying, I don't need a man at all? Because I do believe what Malia said, the energy you put out there, even if you want a man, but if for me as a man, if I hear a woman tell me I don't need a man, that's immediately I get repulsed, and that's unattractive for me. When I hear that, when I hear that energy, when I hear that energy of like from women, like I don't need a man, I don't need it. For me, when I hear that, I'm like, okay, I want to move on to somebody that tells me that they need me, because it's all about codependency. Anyways, hey, Siaosi, thank you so much for jumping on. Taniela, I know you have something to say.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I want to go back to the earlier point that Savage made about the studies and the stats, right? There's a massive reason why I do a lot of the things that I do in terms of keeping up with certain studies, keeping up with certain stats. And one of those are really concerning in the sense that who here knows the rising number in children committing suicide under the age of 14? It's now a steady rise, right? Those are very important to me. Why? Because I have my own children. So I need to put a marker on the world on how to be a better father, in the sense of, why are more kids killing themselves? Is it the quality that we are providing for our children? Is it the quality of other children? You know, not only that, I do a lot of reading into neuroscience, neurochemistry. Why? Because I have a lot of men that I look after. And in a single day, I have roughly 150 to 300 men on my site in one instance. Majority of those men come from broken homes. I'm reaching out to a previous Mark Dalanoa. I'm having a catch up with him because he's got a road to redemption. There is an initiative that I want to run in construction because of the suicide rate in men here in New Zealand. And I want to be a help in that area, right? Those statistics are very raw in the sense that last year, every day of the year, 2 men killed themselves. That's very important to me. Why? Because we're having less men leading society. We're having less men passing on good values. That's very important to me. So the studies and the science, in a sense, helps me baseline what sort of service I can bring out to the world so that the world may be slightly better in some sense. And I may not make it the perfect sense or the perfect world in to some extent, but I want to help. This other thing about men not needing women and women not needing men, to me, that's a very selfish outlook, in the sense that who is going to build your future, the future of the people around you? You need companionship so you can build better values. The values we build individually will never be as best as we are with other people, right? Because they challenge us, they challenge our values. And having a man or a woman at your side challenges those values and how robust they are and how good they are in a moral standing. How do you test your values if you're just building them without having someone else challenge them? And to have a companionship is someone who can safely challenge those values, given that they're a good person. They can challenge those values and make sure that, yes, this is why I build these values. These are good for me to pass on to people around me, and not only that, maybe to children that I might have in some sense. The whole independent thing is not so much a bad way to think about the world, but I'm very concerned in the sense that it is the men and women of tomorrow that will build the society. And if we're looking down this pathway of we don't need each other, we are leading ourselves to mass extinction. I mean, if you want to really go down that route and think, oh yeah, the world's overpopulated, blah, blah, man, the world would do with a lot more better people, not with less people. It'll do a whole lot of good with more good people. And it starts with people like us, having children and passing on good values and learning where the compromises are. It doesn't start with us not wanting to have children or whatnot, in a sense. What we're doing is just promoting more bad people to come into the world. So that's my question, in a sense. Like, yeah, it's all great to be, strong and independent, but for what sense? Are we in service of others, or do we want to lead a route of society becoming more selfish? That's essentially the big question, about that.
All right, no worries. All right, thank you, Taniela. And there's a couple of things I want to bring up later. Thank you, Daniel, for bringing that up. Claudio, thank you for jumping on. Siaosi, thank you for jumping. I'll come back. I'll come to you, Claudio, to share your thoughts. But Siaosi, I don't know if you heard the conversations that we just had the last hour, but you know the topic at hand. What do you think? What's your thoughts about the topic, Siaosi?
I think we as men should stop.
Oh, Fatty, I was talking to Siaosi. My bad, Fatty.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all good. Okay. Go ahead, Siaosi. Yeah,
I think I would
go.
agree.
Yep.
Like Taniela said, it is a concerning, especially nowadays in our time and age. But I do believe that Langi's priorities and value, it's hers. She's not the only one. You guys can hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Now, yep.
All right. I do believe she's not the only one that have approach with this sense. They don't need men to be able to, because they can provide for themselves. And it's her values and her priorities at this time. All and opportunities and growth that we have discovered by, having a family of our own with kids. And that's all we can express to people so that they can be able to understand that there's values in having, kids of your own and a family of your own as well too. I feel like I'm cutting out.
Yeah, a little bit. It's okay. We'll definitely come back. Thank you, Siaosi, for jumping on. Real quick, I just wanted to go through a super chat real quick. Thank you, Daniel Peter, for a $20 donation. Savage is a true savage because he sounds like just a fickle with his advices, just like these strong and independent women. No wonder why he's responded to my comments so emotionally. Get off your feelings, bro. Daniel, thank you for your super chat donation. Thank you for watching. I'll pass it on to Fatty. Fatty, what's your thoughts about everything you said? I know there's a lot of things that you disagree with, a lot of, as you mentioned in the live chat. Go ahead and express what do you think, Fatty?
First of all, how are you guys? Nice to see the house full. Is the different feeling. So
yeah,
nice to see that. So
yeah.
My first point is we as men need to stop giving women vague advice. Go experience yourself. Men are dogs. These are vague concepts that leave women. They are hostage to their feelings. So if you say men are dogs instead of saying men most of the times are sexually reckless, you need to check for this, you need to check for that, It's not constructive. You are going to put the woman on a position of fear, and she is going to get traumatized for the first guy, like what happened to her. And then when the right guy is ready, he's not going to be looking for you, because he sees that you are going on the defensive. You are on a relationship just because you have certain checkbox that you are want to fill, but it's not because you are. It's like, one thing that was funny on this conversation was like, it's about accountability. If Taniela came to me and said, "Oh, I'm in love with a stripper," or something like that, and I will told you, "Man, you don't be with her. That's very risky. Stop." And if on the same way you would still be with her, all the guys here would be clowning him when he was crying on your lap, but we would be putting accountability on his lap because he chose, even after good advice, he chose to be with that person. And what happens with women is that we give sound advice, even if they are getting beaten, even if they are getting cheated, they listen, and then 2 weeks later, they go back to the same guy. And this happens over and over and over again. And that's why I disagree with Savage. On the beginning of the conversation, he said that he would let his sisters go through damage and he would be there for them. I'm on the same boat as him. I have a sister that had a kid by a guy that had 5 kids from 5 different mothers. And she thought she was special. Even with good advice, she thought she was special. And the problem I see with her, that I see with a lot of women, is that we are going to be there no matter what. We are going to be the cushion no matter what. And the lack of accountability makes them have bad advice. Even Tui said on the beginning, women know the man is terrible. They have plausible deniability. That's because they can say, "Oh, I didn't know. He was toxic. He was a narcissist." If you say, "I want to go to your to have sex with you," they will say no. But if you say Netflix and chill, they are going to say yes, because they love that gray area where they can deny it and say, "Oh, I didn't know you come here for this." And with men and between men, it's exactly the same thing. They do this and they retract to the victim standpoint because they are not confident in the way they vet on men. And just to finish my point, we need to teach women to handle their logic like they are in school, with clear guidance and with clear metrics, so they don't lose focus of what they want. Women are better than men at school. Women are more focused than men in work. The problem with women is on their personal life. They don't follow that. They don't follow the metrics. So when you put clear path on their head, they are going to go straight to that line. But if you say, "Oh, you have to experience, you have to do this, you have to do that," they are going to take the easiest path. They are going to go through their feelings instead of going through that logic. And the difference between men and women is that when a man is experiencing things, he's like a warrior. He has to reflect about the last battle, so he needs to prepare for the next battle he's going to be. Women, usually, they get off a relationship, they click the reset button, and they wait for the next buzz. They don't reflect. They don't say, "Oh, I did this and I did that. I need to do this better." The first thing they say, "Oh, my father said that they are dogs, so they are dogs. This is not my fault. So I'm not going to reflect." And that's the thing. We have to be more assertive, and we have to teach women how to, when they are single, to put their foot on the ground and to self-reflect. Because if they don't do that, they are going to commit the same problem, with the same mistakes they did before.
All right, no worries. All right, thank you, Fatty, for sharing. Anybody want to respond to Fatty? And anybody? Okay.
Can I respond to Daniel?
Yeah, but yeah, go ahead.
He's gonna make you rich, dog. The more I keep responding, he's gonna keep emptying his wallet. Let him do it. Listen here with your dirty, dingy ass. Daniel, one thing, yes, you're right. I'm in my feelings. That's what keeps me connected to the women around me. You would know that if you were in your emotions, which you are not, disconnecting you from the very women you are around. This is problematic because emotions is what allows us to feel that femininity, to know what the woman is looking for. But you wouldn't know that because you lack experience. What I see in you is that you probably one day walked in your room on your wife getting the BBC from a big black handsome dude, and that hurt your feelings, and so you gave up. And when you gave up, you just killed everything and said, I'm done. I'm done. I don't want to do this no more. Listen, dog, you don't got to give up. Don't, just because that happened to you doesn't mean that's the experience for everything. So don't come out here projecting and trying to slander me, because I am a savage, but not in the sense that you think. If you don't know why they call me Savage Island, just ask your wife, ask your mother, ask your grandma. They know.
All right. That was a response. And yeah, thank you. That's from Savage. The Savage being Savage. All right. So obviously, everybody on this panel, we have different perspectives upon this, but I do want to focus more on the solution. Do modern women know how to vet good quality men? And a lot of people may have different things, but I know Taniela put some stats out there on the live chat. But for me, one thing I do notice today in modern society, just specifically in America, is the rise of single motherhood is going up, and the rise of children out of wedlock is going up. I'm a big advocate for bringing people together in families. So I do want to come down to a solution. Like we got to have a specific solution of what women should do. And like I told you guys before, at the end of the day, we're not telling people what to do with their life. It's just going to come down to you. But just these are things that you just should be aware of. And like Fatty said, like if the man out there wants to go marry a stripper, hey, if that's your prerogative, go ahead. But if that's my friend or that's somebody I know, I will give him signs. Like I will give him the consequences. Hey, these types of behaviors, these types of traits, these types of things can lead to this. At least you know that before going into that, before you learn the hard way. So I want to start with the ladies. Ladies, I'm sure you had all bad experiences. Maybe you did not, I don't know. But I want to ask you guys, okay, if you had some bad experiences with men, what did you learn? I think Tui said something in the beginning of the podcast, said that make sure that a man what he says and what he does aligns together. So you're looking for a man that's honest, that has integrity, and that's consistent. I like that advice. But I want to ask ladies first. So yeah, what are things that you know specifically, or you have learned from your experience of these things that you would tell your sisters, to tell the women out there watching this right now, that these are things to look for that may lead to failure, that may lead to some consequences, that may lead to a guy that just not may have the best intentions for you. I want to get to specifics because I think Thaddeus said we're just very vague. All men are bad, all women are this, and this. I think that doesn't help the people that's watching this right now. So I want to come to something specific, something that's tangible, something they can take away from this. And I know them as men. I think we know already. We know exactly what the game is. But I think for a lot of women, they know. So I just want something just specifics. Let's start with you, Malia. Like, what are specific things that women should look at? Because that's the topic at the hand. That women should look at men. That clearly that these are things you should look for, because this is a risk. If he shows these types of behavior, this can be a risk. They may lead to a consequence. It may lead to him being a man that may not have the best interest for you.
I think with me, like as far as my experience, like I think with our community, priority is an issue when it comes to couples, like prioritizing your partner differently from like your family. And so I think that's a big one for me. One thing that I really appreciate about my husband is that he really he really puts me first, like before anyone. And that's something that I always looked for in previous relationships, and I never really got that. A lot of times, I was always put in the back burner, like after everyone else in the family and whatnot. So that's one thing that I think you should definitely look for. See where you're at. as far as like that person's priorities. Another thing too is I think another thing too is like as far as like communication, I think is the red flag. Like if that person is not willing to communicate, like have a grown ass conversation with you and talk it out, um, and you know all you're doing is ignoring that person, or you know you just can't talk it out without like ripping each other's faces off. I think that's another huge red flag. And another thing too is I think another thing too is just um, seeing how that person reacts in like certain situations, as far as or um, how they respond to certain situations. Like if that person leaves you when you know when times get rough, or when you know things aren't good, then I think that, or you know they're not helping you, I think that's a huge red flag that a lot of people are too forgiving about. But as for me, I feel like those are my main things when it comes to finding a partner, or finding a good partner, or like qualities that I look for. But my main thing is just finding somebody who puts me first. Because I really do think in our community, especially with Tongans, I think a lot of times with the women, we tend to get dealt with the hand where we're constantly like dealing with with shit that we don't want to, or like you know our voices don't get heard a lot of times, from what I heard, from what I hear from other people. But I don't know, I got lucky. My husband
Will, can
always
I ask just a quick
makes it
question?
known.
Just a really quick question. What does it mean to make you first?
Yeah, I was just about to ask you that question. Like,
What does that mean?
How does he prove that you're a priority?
Is like putting our needs first. So a lot of times, from my experience, a lot of times there's family members that will go to debt just to help someone else. And I honestly believe like you can't help someone else if you can't help yourself. Like I need to make sure that we're good before we help anyone else in our family. And that's just my opinion. And I think a lot of times we overlook, or we just, you know, we don't live within our means, or we try to do too much without taking care of home first.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. All right. No worries. Thank you, Malia. I appreciate it. Yeah, let me know on the live chat what you guys think. How do you guys how should women vet quality men? I'll pass on to Langi. Langi, well, like, what about your experience? Like specific things. I mean, you went through your experiences and you learned from it. Now, if you happen to meet a man, like what specific things do you look for to kind of have a better opportunity with selecting a better man?
So I guess for me, I would look for someone that's steadfast in their beliefs, whatever it is, whether it's God or the ancestors or the universe. As long as they're steadfast and stable in what they believe, then it shows me that they know themselves and they are not going to switch up. And something else that Tui said about fixing things is the person knows how to, if a man knows how to fix things, because then it lets you know that he knows how to fix himself, and he won't be dependent on you to have to fix him or to have to train him to be right, because he can do that for himself. I guess I'm just looking, what I would say is look for someone that knows how to take care of themselves and is stable and steadfast in what they do.
Why are you taking shots at me? Because I don't know how to fix stuff.
Oh,
Okay. No worries. All right. So believe, stable, and steadfast in fixing stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then Malia was priority and communication. Okay. All right. And Tui, same question. You know, what specific things should women look for when it comes to selecting and vetting a good quality man?
You mean aside from not Netflixing and chilling and just showing up at my house with food and making sure that I'm fed? Okay. Sorry. That's such a fat ass answer too. It's such a polygirl answer. Food. But reliability, consistency, financial stability, past relationships, personality. Does his personality align with yours? Does he have friends? Does he have a support system? Like if something happens, you know, like it's not just for women, it's for men and women. I'm generalizing this because every situation is a case by case basis. So, but like what I said is a generalization of what you should be looking for. So like reliability, like I said.
Can we make it more specific just for the woman?
Okay.
Since the topic is betting the men?
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
So
if you don't mind.
Reliability. Does he call when he says he's going to call? Does he show up on time? Does he show up for you, period? If something happens, can you lean on him? Consistency. Does he contradict himself? This is an important one because women miss this all the time because they're so happy to be with a tough guy, or like, you know, my favorite, the fake alpha. Those are my favorite. You know,
Yeah.
they're so stability, like financially and emotionally. And women, like we know, you know, our emotional intelligence is crazy. I say this on every time. Women have crazy emotional intelligence. We know, like, there's a reason we know when our kids might be in trouble, or we know when your asses are lying to us, or, you know, you don't fix shit and you use duct tape on the fucking shower head. That was an actual thing, by the way. My husband was not duct tape. A white guy using duct tape. Unbelievable. Anyway.
I tried.
I know he did try. He was the worst at fixing stuff, but he was afraid of my dad. So he always wanted to make sure. Like,
it's better than me. I would call someone who's better than me. So
hey, but you're fixing it, right? You're calling someone and fixing it. And past relationships. So I mean, I know not everyone is honest about their past relationships, but if they're always the victim in their stories and it's her, she was a bitch, she, you know, like, you know, it's not just a red flag. It's it's a personality conflict for you. Like if he's a victim, like that is not a man you want to get in a relationship with. You know, like I said, women know, we know, we're not dumb bitches. And like the dumb bitches that you do know act like that on purpose because they're fucking stupid. But friends. So if your man does not have any friends, like he can't call someone up and be like, I'm having a bad day. Like even if it's his brother or his cousin or like anyone, if he doesn't have people he can call right away to be like, hey, listen, like I'm having a bad day. Like you want to have a beer or just something simple. Like it's not a huge red flag, but there's something to be said about a man that doesn't have a group of good friends. Like you need at least 3.
Okay. All right. So thank you, Tui, for sharing your thoughts. So I'm gonna pass it on to the men. And the reason why I asked the ladies, you guys first, because I always noticed is that the advice. One thing I always tell the women on the dating podcast: if you want advice about men, you should always ask men.
Ask men, yeah.
Don't ask women. So I wanted the audience to hear your responses, your perspective, and the advice you give. And now I'm going to ask the men. I want you guys to see the difference. If there's a difference, I think there's a difference, but I want to see the difference between how men and women give advice, even though it's the same thing.
I want you guys all to agree with me.
Because that's why I always bring it up. That's why it's important, I believe, that in order to bring men into your life, especially your father, your brother, your uncle, a healthy, strong masculine man, not those toxic bums. I'm talking about a good, strong father figure, men that is responsible, competent, got his life together. Ask them for advice to get their perspective because it's important. But I'm gonna start with Taniela, the most masculine out of all of us. What's your advice?
I hate to break it to you, but 90% of what the woman has just said can be faked, and it can be fake for a very long time.
I was just about to say
that's
that.
The first thing
that's the first thing I said in my mind.
And this is why I believe women nowadays do not know how to vet men, because of all these criteria. Only 2 things, and I've said this before: resilience. A guy who can be faced with whatever hardship he goes through in life, he doesn't take it out on you. He learns to problem solve, and he solves that shit himself. Accountability. okay, I'm not prioritizing you. That's my fault. Fuck it. I need to be better. I need to communicate better. Or I turn up late to my sons, or I turn up late to this meeting. Shit, that's my fault. I shouldn't went out for a beer with Sione. Next time, Sione, fuck off. I need to get to my wife at this time. Those two things. A man can be the most useless person in the world, but if he's resilient and he has accountability, he will learn to be the right man for you and only you. Every single criteria that, and I'm sorry to say this to the ladies, but every criteria that you put up, 90% of those, men can fake that shit. And that's why marriage gone for years. And then finally a switch just flips and the man goes, fuck this shit. I put in so much effort into this relationship. I want to go out and try the other side of the fence. Maybe the grass is greener there. A man who's accountable and a man who's resilient will never think that. Why? Because he's invested so much time into this relationship, and he's accountable that the direction of the relationship is his own damn fault. That's all I gotta say.
No worries. Somebody in the live chat just called you a Tongan Samuels.
Tongan Samuela.
Samuela. All right. Thank you so much, Taniela. And I totally agree with Taniela, ladies. You know, everything that you guys said, personality, a priority, communication, that's all wordplay. That's all, everything is by mouth. And that's something I just noticed when I was writing down all the things you guys said. That's all communication. That's all words. There's no action. And not even for men, if they understand the game, they can fake all that shit. So that's why for me, it's like when I look at vetting people, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit what they say. It's about the tangible things. What can they prove? What can they show me consistently? And that's just one thing I just noticed when you guys were listing the priorities, and that's why I was like, there's a difference of how we see things.
I can communicate. That's always your fault. I'm communicating. It's always your fault.
You can't fake accountability. You can't
fake resilience.
A man who's strong enough, masculine enough, have good values cannot be faked. A guy who takes everything as his fault, the direction of the relationship, how things are turning out. A man who's accountable will not fake that. He won't say, oh, it's my fault, and do nothing. Accountability is saying it, openly communicating his fault and doing something to it. Consistently doing something to be better, a better person, so that he can provide more value to you.
Well, now you guys know why I'm fucking single, because everything you said is bullshit. Fuck.
You know, one of my favorite quotes. Mike Tyson said, "Everybody wants to fight until they get punched in the mouth." So that's when you because I guess you can't fake accountability. You can't fake resiliency when you put their feet on the fire. When shit hits the fan, shit gets real. Life falls apart. A resilient, accountable man is gonna stay. The fakers, the guys that tells you everything you wanted to hear, they're gonna leave. I do have a super chat donation. Daniel Kira asked, smart men, unlike some people who lie to you.
The civil war continues.
All right. we got a battle over here. All right. So I'm gonna pass it on to Siaosi. Siaosi, same question. How should modern women vet men to know the difference between the betas and the alphas? from our last podcast. Go ahead.
I think Daniela nailed it right there. The accountability part of it, and what I called relentless. Somebody that just got kicked in the mouth and keep coming back over and over again. You know, what I do believe that like those two can help a man, because you can see them act a lot more confident than normal men. And the reason why they're confident is just that he is keeping the promises he's telling himself, you know, as a person. If he tells himself, okay, I'm going to be back because my wife wants me to be there at my kid's game, he's going to be accountable to do those things. And it just shows a lot more confident in a person. Also, those two things helps a man be more responsible instead of being entitled. I've said this a lot more time because I've seen it multiple times. You know, if your boyfriend or if your man keeps whining and and coming up with excuses, that's just because he's not responsible. And those people that are not responsible are people that are not accountable, or they're afraid to be relentless or to figure it out. We have a saying in our little village in Tonga, we can survive anywhere in the world because we're relentless. We can just figure it out. Throw me a hammer and I can build you a whole building. And that's like, that's alpha mentality. Somebody to just keep coming back. Because if you're looking for a man in your marriage, a man will fight for your marriage no matter what. A real man that holds relentless, more accountability, because he knows a lot of the times we're not perfect, but if we're accountable, we'll admit that we screwed up. We're selfish, but we can fix it. We'll figure it out. That's what alpha in my sense of knowledge. I'm not, let's say, I'm not very the guy that you can go for advice in regards of like what men can do. But I do want to add something. We ladies, you ask so much about advice about men to your fathers. Why not ask your mothers as well too? We're living in a way different life, and this is my opinion, and it's probably gonna be wrong until like proven. But I feel like in the later future, because women are going through a lot of trials and tribulations with relationship, they might become more pro in what men could become in the future. That's just me saying that. So I would say ask both. Ask your mom what does she see a real man is, and then ask your father. I don't think that like we men know all the answers. It's a cooperative situation, and that's just what I see has happened in my life as well too. But also that whatever their advice is doesn't mean that that's the truth. You have to find the truth for yourself.
Yeah.
Look at your environment, your society. What are they teaching you in your environment that could help you filter out what's wrong and what's right?
Just to complete what he said, I think you should ask happy married woman about man, because if you ask woman, they are going to put their trauma on you, literally. Oh, men and shit, they do this and they do that, and they don't care about their kids, and they are talking literally about their ex. So ask happy married woman about.
And what I would add to what Fatty said, happy married woman over 20 years. At least 20 years. Not 1 year, not 6 months, not 3 years.
That's
20 years at least.
We live in a society, if you made it 5 years, that's a big deal.
and that's still less than the average, which is 7 years before the divorce. All right, no worries. Thank you, Siaosi, for sharing that. You guys let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna pass it on to Savage. Savage, man. Same question, all the fellas.
Before Savage answers, everyone who's in the chat right now, like the video, because like I see 17 people in here and I don't see any likes. So like the video.
If you everybody out there watching this right, press that like and subscribe button real quick before I get Savage to go off on your ass right now. But anyways, thank you so much for you guys watching. Whether you like or not, whether you like to subscribe to the video or not, I'm not entitled to your like, but I will keep working and do what I can to make great content for you guys that watch this. But if you love it, appreciate it, support the work I do, like that video. But I'll pass it on to Savage. Savage, what's your thoughts and about specific advice for women to vet good quality men? Or you're on mute, Toko.
Yeah, sorry. Could you give me the question again? My bad. I was vibing out.
No, it's all good. You were in that Amaterasu, in that dream.
My knees go weak when she comes around. South of the border, she's a Mexican. Chica bonita. Yeah.
You were caught in that genjutsu. Okay, I got you. Savage, go ahead. We were talking about specific trial specific things women should look for in men to know the difference between quality and not quality men?
I would say that, like, first off the gate, like you gotta see how blunt he really is, on surface, just the surface. Like if he says what he means, then he means what he says. Any man who can do that, I guarantee you, will never be fooled. A man in that kind of aspect or experience, that's the man that, I hope to, always be every day, is to say what I mean and mean what I say. Hello, nice to meet you. Mean that shit. Even as something as simple as basic as that, like if you stand firm on what you're saying, there's no way that woman's going to think otherwise. Oh, why would he say it like that? You know what I'm saying? But even just going to the basis of meaning what you say, my uncle once told me, a girl can tell a lot about your speech pattern. So, whether your voice is shaky, if you stutter when you say it, some of these things women key off of. And that's just body language, body mechanics. They just key off that type of shit. Second is like your faith in yourself. Like she really will vibe off of like how much or how well you are in your confidence. And this is just me speaking from experience. I am not giving anyone advice. If you think I'm giving you advice, listen, this is shit that I utilize. It may not work for you, so don't use it. But confidence is like, it's one thing to walk in a room and have a disdain voice to where everybody knows, oh man, that guy sounds like, oh, that guy sounds like the alpha. You know what I'm saying? But it's another when you walk up and your presence is that of like just spilling out confidence. Like, damn, something about that guy just says he knows what the fuck he wants. I'm wet. You know what I'm saying? And like, I mean, that's the common fantasy that most men would like to play out, but that's really not what it is. But, confidence plays a key factor into everything we do as men. So we would hope that if the woman keys off anything, key off the confidence. Last but not least, your work ethic.
Savage, before you go, can I ask you this?
Let him finish. Let him finish real quick.
Okay, I'm sorry for interrupting. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. But your work ethic. I'm not just talking about at your occupation that you work at 9 to 5. What are you doing after that? What are you doing before that? Like Siaosi and Taniela tapped into it. Is the relentless. It's one thing to say it, but to see it at work, to see it like, man, this guy's really persistent. He knows I just got out of a bad relationship. Why does he keep coming back? I don't understand that. Like he knows I'm not in a good place. It's not that. You got to look deeper. He really cares about you. He's really trying to pick up the pieces. Although he knows it may take a couple months, it may take a year, it may take 2 years, but I'm pretty sure he made an imprint on you. And so he's making it adamant to work his ass off to make you trust him. That to me is like overall and above, that's grinding. You don't have to have a job in that sense. I'm not saying, to not have a job. Don't go out there and not have a job and say, well, Savage said I didn't need a fucking job. That's not what I mean. I'm talking about working in every area of the relationship. Somebody brought up earlier a very bad analogy of business. Business is a professional relationship, whereas in, the man and the woman, it's a personal relationship. You don't need business to be happy, but you sure as hell are going to need someone else to be happy in the sense that to reaffirm you, reassure you, hey, it's okay. We fucked up, but we can get back at it. This kind of behavior with a man is very good at. I'm not saying the woman is, but the man DNA genetically is very adamant about proving their point and just their work ethic. Hey, that way's not going to work until eventually they keep pounding at that wall. Next thing you know, they knock the wall down. Oh my God, he made it work. Exactly. That's the fucking point. Keep working at it. It may not be today. It may not be tomorrow, but somewhere down the line when she's down and out and she feels like she's given up, when you least expect it. Hey, Steve, are you available? Yeah. What's going on? I don't know. I just need someone to talk to. Oh, okay. I'm just hanging out with a couple friends. What do you need? Could you come over? And boom, there it is. The rest is history. The rest is history. So that relentless, it plays into the factor of confidence, and it plays into the factor of what you speak into life. So if you don't believe in that, brother, geez, man, you've got a mountain to fight ahead of you. That mountain is fucking steep, but just keep at it, believe in yourself, and be confident more than anything. That's what I believe the woman is looking for in the man, if they don't already know that.
All right, no worries. All right, thank you. Thank you, Savage, man. Always appreciate it. I'm a bit fatty. Yeah, Go ahead, man.
I have just a point before. I don't really like the idea of beta and alpha, because in my opinion, to be honest, I think most betas will be better husbands than most alphas. In my opinion, like putting the woman needs first, being agreeable, taking care of their kids and not running around. I think a lot of qualities. That's why I don't like the alpha and beta stuff, because if you look at the relationship status, I think the alpha is most likely to go picking and choosing where he wants to. He's like a little bee. He just going to pollinate. And I think a beta, because he doesn't have that much confidence, like Savage was saying, is going to stay on his place and try to make it work. But the second point that I don't really agree is confidence. The biggest pieces of shit that I ever saw in my life were super confident. With women, with business, they have confidence because they did it again. They lied, they cheated, and they steal it, and they never got caught. And if they got caught, they have the confidence because they have options. So I don't know if it's good advice, because I understand what Savage is saying. It's confidence that he can overcome problems, like Taniela said and you guys said. There's confidence that he does not buckle when things go tough, etc. But on the vetting stages, confidence is a little bit tricky, because I can say, oh, I have a business and I have this and I have that and I am stable and and I get what I want because I'm confident. And then I say goodbye, see you next week, and I go get another one and give her the same recipe. So the confidence thing, I think, is a little bit tricky. On my points, bullet points, I think to sum it up, all what the man said here, before that, don't get pregnant before marriage, please don't. And then when I say marriage, is not having like the ceremony, living with a guy a couple of years, be stable, because that way, Taniela is saying 5 years, because that way, what happened is you are going to create a bond of that man with that kid. And if they are separated for your decision or his decision, he's probably going to stay on the kid's life. So it's a really good way of have like a good relationship building. Because if you are, most of the times, most single women, they are because they never get married with a guy. And the guy was not attached to them. And after he's not attached to them, he's going to reflect on the relationship with the kid. So I think that this is the first bullet point. And I think it will solve like 50% of the problems. And the second and the most, I think this should be taught in school. Even woman is the first thing women should be teaching, that men know. Men know that just because you make me hard, you are not going to make me happy. Women, unfortunately, don't understand that what makes them happy is not the same thing that makes them wet. And the problem is they keep searching the guy that makes them wet. They keep making excuses for the bad behavior that the guy makes them wet. And they are vetoing for the sexiness in that. Does he make?
Can I make a comment?
Yeah, you can.
Did you just say we should teach that in schools?
Yeah, really. On 14 years old, when you start.
They used to teach it etiquette lessons in school.
And even
etiquette was one thing, but so let me ask you something, Claudio.
Yeah.
Do you have kids?
I don't have kids. I have nephews.
Okay, so and understand that if you hypothetically, if you ever had a kid, you'd be okay with the school teaching your child etiquette in the sense that that's secondhand, like they're teaching it, not you, but they are teaching it. You're okay with that?
I will say this: if you are teaching sexual education at 14, you should teach dynamics between men and women, because you know what they teach? Men teach their children, woman, be careful. They are all dogs. Be careful. You need to be. We do that right now. We already do that. But the problem is vague advice. It's not sound advice. And if you say to a woman that bases her life on the emotions that she usually goes through, if you say, be very careful every time you are on the situation that you think that guy
Okay,
is making.
okay, I hear that. So you would be okay if they taught your hypothetical kids that in school. I really don't care about the, the third party information. I mean, simply just being in school, the advocacy, because even though they teach sexual education, I understand that that's a problem. But being at home and hearing your mom saying they're men are dogs, I mean, I'm asking if they taught your kids that.
I got you. Let me retract that. I don't trust because I don't trust the school system, and I give you that. Let me retract that. But I think at the same time, you are being introduced to sex at school, like sexual education, etc. Somebody at home, an uncle, father, a bigger brother, should be telling you what drives woman and what drives men. And the biggest problem that puts women in a really bad place is that they go through life without understanding the difference between the checklist they have. I want a guy with a car. I want a guy that makes a certain amount. I want a guy that has a house. I want a guy that is this. And that list is something that makes them happy. But then appears the guy that makes them wet and doesn't have those things that make her happy. And she drops the list, rips it, and throws it on the garbage because she likes that guy and she wants to pick that guy. If you understand the two, mostly you are going to make sound decisions because you are not going to be drunk on your emotions when you are in love. Most men here were in love. Don't you remember when we didn't have nothing, but we were happy just because our girlfriend was happy too, and we weren't striving for the career, for the car, for the house, but just because she was happy, we were drunk on our emotions, and we were happy just because she was happy. I think women should understand these two. Just because they are happy doesn't mean that the guy that they are with are making things to make her happy. It's like a little bit of a genjutsu, like Will said. They go on a state of dream, and they only get there through trauma and to bad experience. And I don't want that to happen because most of them only learn that at 40 when they have 2 or 3 kids on deck. And now they know the game when they should know the game at 16 or 17.
Hey, I do want to ask Savage real quick. I know you disagree about sharing that type of information at a very young age at 14, but can we all agree on this panel that children nowadays are more introduced to sex at an early age because of social media? So kids now, like middle school, elementary school, they're watching videos, sexual videos, maybe even porn. So, I mean, I don't know what the right age is, but I do believe in this generation, they need to have those type of conversations earlier because of social media, because they're already talking. I see girls on TikTok are like 8, 9, 10 years old already doing, challenges. Yeah, so those type of promiscuous dancing at 8, 9, 10. So they're already getting sexualized at a very young age. So I don't know what the right age is, but I just think that because of this generation of social media, they should be introduced to those types of conversations earlier.
I had to have that conversation with my daughter, and she's 12.
I don't agree, but I hear you. I don't agree with it, but I hear you.
Yeah. This is the times that we live in now.
Savage, aren't you going to have those conversations when the time comes? Like, what's the right time? Because you have.
Well, because you're speaking from the perspective of your second-handed view, which is when my kids have access to the technology, it's because I allow it, and when they see things that they're not supposed to, it's because I allow it. You get what I'm saying? Like the control I have over the technology, ultimately, the control I have over the technology dictates what they will learn. For instance, if they see any of that stuff, blame the parent. Don't blame the child, blame the parent. Because you know why? If that's the case, take the technology from the parent away too. We have parental controls for a reason. Saying that is like saying, if we can't monitor the technology, take it all away. Why do we have it in the first place? Technological advancement is just that, for us to advance. To focus on that means you're not doing your job. Trust me, I'm very good at this because I monitor the shit out of this because I have a parental viewer remote on my phone. So whenever they're watching shit they're not supposed to, the app lets me know. But that's what I'm saying as far as what I don't agree with. If you don't put the effort, that's your fault. For instance, why the hell would I be watching an 8-year-old girl be dancing if that shit is accessible to my For You page? You get what I'm saying? It should be, but I can change the content preferences. What happens is I'm not tech savvy, so when that shit shows up, oh fuck, I don't know how to work this shit. You should probably stay away from it.
Yeah, all right, no worries. I do before I pass it on to Daniela, I know you want to say something. I do want to give the ladies a response to what the shit. So the women shared their advice, and a lot of the fellas agreed here that 90% of what you guys gave can be faked. And I do believe it was a lot of reasons why a lot of modern women. That's why I believe a lot of them have no idea what they're why they get played and get fooled a lot of times. So you guys heard the advice from the men. What do you guys think? Agree, disagree? We're full of shit. You guys stand by what you said. I want to ask you guys, ladies, after hearing this information. I'll start with you, Langi. So you just heard Langi. You just heard the fella say our perspective on how women should vet men. What do you think about what's the response to what the men said?
He was saying, Fatty, I think, was saying something about how, like, I guess, like, to me, I still stand with, you can only make yourself happy. Like, even in a relationship, like, we can't expect our partner to make us happy unless we consciously choose to make ourselves happy. So I still stand by the fact that, like, we have to put ourselves first, whether you're the man or the woman, and learn to make yourself happy so that when you guys do come into union, you guys aren't really like using each other like that or getting into as many arguments, because you know how to handle it by yourself. And like, you can bounce off ideas with each other about how to go about it, but in essence, you're still doing the work yourself.
Okay, no worries.
Don't
All
you
right.
think? Don't you think?
We'll come back. I just want to get the ladies for the sake of time. Fatty.
I'm sorry.
No, I got you, Fatty. It's all good.
Shut the fuck up, Fatty.
on these situations that my name doesn't sound well when somebody says that.
All right. Malia, same thing. We just heard the men telling it the raw truth of how men operate. Think. What do you think? Do you change your advice? You improve it? You just keep the same advice that you have?
I'm sorry, I'm still done with Dewey. You bitch.
I'm sorry, Will. You can kick me off at any time, Will. Just kick me off.
Oh, go ahead, Malia.
Sorry, I needed that. What was that? Sorry, I'm still trying to gather my thoughts. I mean, I think in some cases, like, some men can fake it. But I think women are like, they just know their intuition. I think they can tell whether or not, like, a man is faking it or not. I think it's just up to the women to like to own up to it, or to be real about it. Because I think a lot of times women do tend to kind of turn a blind eye when it comes to shit like that, or like, you know, men doing certain shit that they don't like. But I think if you're honest with yourself, you'll be able to identify when a man is, bullshitting or lying to you. But I think it just depends. But as far as like what you guys are saying about, qualities that we should look out for, definitely, I agree with that. But yeah, I just think it depends, because I think at the end of the day, like, if you're happy with that person, then that's on you. And I do agree 100% with Langi. Like, it really does start with you. You have to make yourself happy before fucking with someone else, because you can't expect that person to make you happy, because in the end, that shit never works out. So,
I mean, the thing is, you can be happy, but you don't know how to vet good quality men. You're just gonna invite the same cycle. What happened? You know what I'm saying? So you can be happy with yourself, but if you never understand how to do that the right way, or the best way, then you're just gonna repeat the same experience again and again, and you have to go through that loving phase, heal, break heartbroken, heal, heartbroken, and next thing you know, you're 60 with 3 cats.
That's the contradiction. You might be happy, and then you don't know how to vet the guy, and he puts your life in the miserable place.
So you're just like, repeat. It's a repetitive cycle.
Well, I think if you are like not like, I think if you are like really happy with yourself, you'll naturally like find someone who will match your energy, or because you can't stay happy if you invite somebody who has like trash energy. Like that's just my feeling on it. But I think if your alignment is there and your chakras are aligned, I'm just kidding.
Wow, and the signs, and he's a Cancer.
No, I don't believe in that bullshit. Fuck Horse Scouts. But what I'm saying is,
but chakras is okay. Like signs, no, but chakras is okay, and energy.
No. What I'm saying though is like, I think if you're in the right space and you got a good head on your shoulders, and you got good energy, and like everything in your life is aligned, like I think you will attract that person. Because I don't think a lot of times women are in the right state of mind when they're vetting like a sorry man. So like I said earlier, I think you attract what you put out there. So
Okay. No worries. Thank you, Malia. And I'm passing on to Tui. Ladies, I just want you guys to, ladies and Malia and Langi, I just want you guys to hear the things you guys are saying, because the thing we brought up in the beginning, everything's so vague. Alignment, feeling good about yourself, happy. Energy. That's not specific. But I just want to put it out there, like it's so vague, and that's why if you don't make it specific, a lot of women can just that's not like a tangible thing to tell them what to do, and then that's why they often keep making the bad choices. When Taniela and Patty and Savage and Siaosi, like we give very specific things: accountability, resiliency, hard work, ambition. Like these are things that you can measure and tangibly measure, and look at these that's proven on actions, not on happiness, which is emotion. I'll come back to you, Malia. I'm gonna pass it to you.
Okay.
Leave it to this fucking podcast to equate what I would like wholeheartedly believed in to like the ground. And because like after Taniela said all that, I was like, fuck, I know, right? And I was like, God damn it. I like it's like I know. And I was like, I fucking hate this so much. I just wanted to jump off, but I didn't. But yeah, like as soon as he said that, I was like, yeah, pretty much. Like I just went over everything I said, and I was like, this ain't the 1940s, Tui. Like men aren't how they are like back then, and neither am I. I'm not like that, but like my mentality and my perspective comes from my parents, because like my mom drove into the females in my family to expect more from the woman, because she was gonna carry her man in a sense. And then my dad was like, this is what like the qualities I look for in a man are of my dad, because he was such a good man. And he like so yeah, I have nothing to say about like just, can you cut that clip out that I said? Because if you don't, I'm gonna report this fucking video, Will.
All right, join the club. All right. All right, so now I'm gonna go back to the fellas. You just gave them real hardcore advice. Listen to what the women said. What do you think? And anything you want to add on to that, Taniela? I know you have something to say, but what do you think? We gave them the reality of the hard truths of how men operate, and you got a chance to listen to women. What do you guys think of their response to our response? And anything else you want to share, Taniela? Go ahead.
Yeah. So what I hear in the conversation for Delano is we need to be happy first. We need to be happy with ourselves. I'll tell you what, if you live life wanting to be happy in your own comfort, you'll never be happy. I can tell you that. What makes you happy? Receiving service from others, or doing something, or carrying out a responsibility, or finding meaning in certain things that you do. That's where you find happiness. If you live your life wanting happiness, I'm sorry to say it to you, but it's an ever-fleeting emotion. You will never be truly happy. So why do we metric and quantify happiness as we need to be this one thing? And I said this on an earlier podcast. I hate this whole goal of pursuit of happiness, because it's nothing to me. Happiness is nothing to me. It's a byproduct of me finding meaning and carrying out the responsibility that I have as a human being to myself first, as a father, as a husband to my wife, and not only that, as a member of my society. Doing all those things, a byproduct of it becomes happiness. And it might be one of the guys I help out at work with his mental health issues, going through a divorce, or going through one of his close mates or family member committing suicide, which these are all real scenarios. Getting a grateful message from him makes me happy for 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and then I go about my day. I wake up in the morning and I feel like shit. That does not, my happiness in that moment does not become the metric of how I base my judgment on anything at all. I can wake up depressed, but I still have a responsibility to my family, a responsibility to myself. So when we use happiness as a metric for how we should gauge the world and the people around us, Disney has really fucked up a lot of you women, eh? That we have to find Prince Charming, we have to find happiness. I'm sorry to say it, but that's not how the real world works. You can be at your absolute low, but if you have the woman or the man that you love in the whole wide world, it will ease that battle for you. You're not necessarily happy. I mean, I used to be happy going out to town and getting numbers and sleeping with women. I'm a different man now. So that metric of happiness always change in a sense, right? So define happiness, if that's really the metric.
All right, no worries. Thank you, Amin. Thank you, Taniela, and I believe that as well. I concur. I think that that's really important. I think happiness is a byproduct of finding your meaning, fulfilling your responsibilities, doing the things that you were created to do in this world, your purpose. But thank you so much for sharing that. Let me know what your thoughts are. Do you believe in happiness? You don't believe in happiness? Let me know what you guys think. Siaosi, so you gave the advice. You heard the women say their response to our advice. What do you think? Well, what do you think, Siaosi? Or anything you want to add on?
I just lost my train of thought. And Taniela has so much in there. Like, he got me thinking. He's definitely ready should always try to find that happiness, or to find that Prince Charming, is what Taniela was saying. One of the things that if you guys read the book, the subtle art of not giving a fuck, it's a really, really good book, and I just finished that book and I want to reread it again. But it's going along the same concept of like there's always going to be two kinds of pain. Like, for example, if I want to be fit, all right, if I want to be fit, then then I have to go through the pain of waking up in the morning, getting dressed, dragging myself through the snow, going to the gym. So there's never going to be like a truly joy of being fit. There's always going to be a byproduct of what pain can you decide today to handle, so you can avoid the other pain, if that makes sense. So I like that. I really, it just popped into my head. And for all of you women, please, we men can fake anything that you throw in our way. If it's to be the rest of your life until I get tired of it. The fact is like, you need to what they're truly or prioritizing in your life. If it's, going back, and sometimes you overcomplicate the action that men should take to be able to, show, so for you to like them. You guys overcomplicate the list for men. It should be simple enough, because men can learn. We might not show it right there and then, but if you see a quality of relentless and responsibility in us, do believe that if that man is by your side and you can support them, they will provide and they'll stand by you for the rest of your life if you give them a chance. But because there's so much of a list that you give them, we can fake a whole bunch of it, but then you find fake men faking all these things for you so they can get into your house, basically. So don't overcomplicate everything. Just stick to the simple things. And please don't look for that happiness. There's always going to be bad judgment. There's always going to be trials, but pick your battles. Pick what kind of pain that you have to go through so that you can avoid the other pain. So that's what I would say. That makes sense.
No worries. Yeah, it definitely made sense. Thank you, Siaosi. And Savage, same thing. You heard the women, what they said. You heard Taniela and Siaosi respond. What do you think, Savage?
Yeah, I definitely agree, man. We men should have happy penis. That's what you said, right? Happy penis.
Yeah,
That's
like
what it sounded like you said. Yeah, because I don't give a fuck about happiness, but if it's all about happy penis, I'm all for it. Let's do that. No. In all seriousness, you know, I don't remember the vetting process being that tough for me in the beginning because, you know, I was a smooth talker. I don't know how many times I've said that, but it's gotten me out of a lot of good situations. It's gotten me into very good situations and a lot of bad situations. So in that funk, I've never had to experience that because I didn't have a dad. I didn't have an uncle. I didn't have nobody to teach me that shit in the sense like, hey, man, this is what it's going to be like. Go with it. No, the minute I knew I was attractive somewhat, somewhere down the line, I kind of navigated through that avenue. It was like, holy shit, you think what about me makes my hair, my face, my jaw, oh shit. And then I would play off those key advantages. So when women would vet anything off me, it was because I put on a good show. I was on the surface, I was somebody else every fucking time. I was a walking facade until I realized when it came to being organic, I was the fakest motherfucker in the room. So in women being able to be faked out like that was just growing up in my days. You know, women now compared to women back then, the women now wouldn't survive back then. They wouldn't. Because I'd have played every one of you motherfuckers straight up. I was ruthless like that. I didn't give a fuck. That's just who I was. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't give a fuck about the feelings. I didn't give a fuck about, you know, what's going to happen tomorrow. If you could lay down on your back and let me beat the cheeks and I get up out of here, out of your way, good. 90% of the time, those were church girls. You know what I'm saying? I took the easy way out. I was a fucking coward. I just did it that way until I learned the amount of damage I caused after that. That was the fucked up part. Because now every woman I ever did that to, I see my daughter. And that's fucked up. I understand how much of a dick, how much of an asshole I am now in that sense. So every time I speak, I try to speak from experience. Listen, I'm a fucking indigenous man from the Pacific Ocean with markings on my face. Why would you even take me serious? Anything I say, you should take me as a joke. This is a fucking joke. But the one thing you know for sure is my wife accepts me for this. The vetting process that with her, I'm fortunate to even say that I made it into her good graces. You know what I'm saying? She didn't require much, but that I stayed real. And the sad part about it was she's the reason why I'm even this real today. Like if I could tell you that my wife's vetting process was very rigorous, it was very rigorous. But if you've ever been cleaned up out of a pile of your own puke, shit, and piss and still treated like gold the next day, you would understand. Listen, I know it's a tough play out there. I know rejection sucks. I know that because my brothers and sisters are still going through it today. I'm fortunate enough to have made it out of that slump. So to the guys, I know it sounds corny. I know it sounds Disney and shit, but like, honestly, if you're not trying every day, trying to be at it, trying to put in the work 24/7, if you don't believe in confidence, if you don't believe in speaking in life, if you don't believe in your mind, body, and spirit, I don't know what else to say to help you. Because if the modern woman, her vetting process is too rigorous, it's too tough for you, it's okay to say she's not the one for me. You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy that we would think a woman would be traumatized by the experience if she didn't find the right man. What about the man? What if he was traumatized because he knew he was the right one for her? You know what I'm saying? Like, I would just honestly say, as far as hearing from the women, hey, listen, I'm not going to speak on Tui, Langi, or Malia's experience, but I would say just hearing you guys, it helps me to mold the kind of words, the kind of terms, the kind of life I want to speak into my daughter. I don't want to go back into the fucking game. I'm happy. I'm happy penis. My wife is great with happy penis. Thank you, wife. Thank you, babe. Like, because this world out there is dog eat dog, man. And I said it many times on the podcast, Will. I don't wish this upon any man, but I do understand it exists. And all I can tell you, man, is just keep going, man. I don't know to say the opposite is like, hey, just give up. That's fucked up. That's not progressive. But I would say you'll make a way. You're a man for a reason. Believe in that shit. We have the genetics to beat out the ice age, to climb up mountains, dive to the deepest depths of the ocean. And this little hill that we're getting over, hey, plenty fish in the sea, man. I would only hope and pray that any young man that's listening to this, if you're going through that right now, if you're definitely going through that, look, I'm a 33-year-old indigenous man with markings on his face. Don't take me serious, but just know you should prioritize yourself. If the woman should see that, she will prioritize you. I believe that. So with that being said, keep working, man.
Right,
We
no
all
worries.
want happy penises.
No worries, Savage. Savage, we have to do like a live stream talking about, happy penises and
Yes.
how'd you get those women?
Yeah, Joseph Smith would fuck me up. Joseph Smith hates the fuck out of me.
I want to hear
General
about the
Conference was
twins.
dope as
Savage.
fuck every year.
Yeah.
I want to hear about the twins because I know you nabbed twins at some point. I
And
just
also,
know.
And I like your selection pool, church girls. Good choice, brother. All right, no worries, Fatty. Yeah, response to everything. And then after this, ladies, we're gonna conclude it and conclude the podcast. Go ahead, Fatty.
It's not easy to go after Savage Rant. I will try. I'm going to complete what Taniela said, and he said it very well. Disney fucked up woman's mind up. Happiness. We talked for 40 minutes about concrete things that women should do to focus on vetting a guy, and their responses were feelings, happiness, it's vibes. We have to and chakras, and I'm not belittling the woman because they are women. They veto the world through their emotions.
Energy, energy.
Yeah, but even after 40 minutes of sound advice, they revert to the same thing we told them not to do. Focus on emotions. If men were focused on happiness, they will kill themselves by day 10. We understand that we value peace and quiet, and that's a flat line. And if the flat line is there, great. And then happiness is a little peak and then goes back to normal, and we learn how to be here. The problem with women, and that's why divorce rates are super high, because they believe that the life is on the pursuit of happiness. And they go every single day, trying to look for happiness, and they confuse peace and tranquility with something is wrong. There was a very interesting list that says, it's like if men had 20% of what they look on a woman, like most men would still pick that woman. And if woman had 80% of what they want on a man, they will reject that man because they want all of it. They want every single metric. They want every single checkbox to be filled. And I don't have a problem with that. You know what my problem is that when the guy that makes them wet comes around, they will forget every single thing they put on that box because they feel happy. The vibe was going, you see, it's all about emotions, it's all about feelings, it's all about valuing person by the way they make me feel instead of, does he make my life easier? Does he is available? Is he consistent? But that's a problem. We as a man, and I'm sorry to be harsh about this, but that's most women shouldn't be giving advice or shouldn't be leading this stuff exactly because of this, because they are easily distracted by the shiny new thing. Really, they are really easy to distract. And if they say, I want a red car, 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 then I see a green Lamborghini, oh, green Lamborghini, I want that too. It's just difficult to stomach as a man that goes through life using logic. And I know I will lose that a lot because, like Savage says, it's not that I'm afraid, it's because I have a lot to lose and I don't have a problem with woman necessarily, I have a problem with the powers that are behind women, like the courts, the family courts. Like Savage said, we climb mountains and we survive ice ages. You know what men can battle? They can battle all those stuff, but as soon as they enter in family court, they are done. At least where I live. So I don't have a problem with women. I have problem with the powers that are behind women and are pushing this behavior of find happiness. And if I'm not happy on my marriage, you should pursue happiness and live all together. That's my problem with that. So to sum it up, Taniela said it very clearly. Disney put unreliable expectations or expectations through the roof that any man, any single man can, even the most powerful man, and we see Jeff Bezos, Dr. Dre, most of them, they are getting, Brad Pitt, they are getting rejected and divorced. So if they can do it, I really don't understand. How are we going to impute on our woman that they should go through life on a more realistic way instead of going on a more fairy tale way?
All right, no worries. Thank you so much, Fatty. And before we conclude the podcast, the one thing I would just say is like, I believe that selecting your future partner that you're gonna spend the rest of your life with, I believe that is probably the one or two most important decisions you're ever gonna make in your life. Who you choose to have married with, and who you choose to have kids with. And I believe that's one of the most important decisions that you need to make. But also, I believe you need to make that decision very objectively. And I do see a pattern and a habit for a lot of women when they make these decisions. They usually base it on feelings, and that's why I believe the feedback of a strong, healthy, masculine father is really, really important, or the uncle or brother that understands men. Because when you're in your feelings, you tend to overlook the red flags or things that you may not see if you were objective. That's why I believe like hearing a man's perspective, and I'm not is really, really important. And just basing everything on your own, because like women tend to have an emotional perspective when it comes to this. And you guys know this, and me and Siaosi and Taniela talk about this in the podcast all the time. Usually when we make big decisions, really important decisions, long-term decisions based on emotion, those decisions rarely don't work out. When you make very important long-term lasting decisions based on emotion, how you feel, instead of objectivity of what you should do, that's the right decision. Not what feels right, but what is right. Just wanted to add that to you guys. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching. A lot of people in the live chat. Press that like and subscribe button. One of the most entertaining live chats I've had so far. A lot of shit talking. A lot of people just saying their piece perspectives. And man, I just want to say first and foremost, shout out to the panel. I love this conversation. We didn't see things eye to eye. We had a lot of perspectives and opposing views, which I already knew. I already knew on tonight's topic we were going to see things differently. But I think it's really, really important at least for both men and women, you guys can hear at least the other perspective. But at the end of the day, it's up to you to make your own choice. And whatever choice you guys make, with what we discussed tonight, that the accountability is on you. But I want to ask the guests, let's conclude the podcast. Thank you so much for joining. What's your final thoughts? What'd you take away? Did you learn anything? Did not learn? I'm starting with the ladies. What do you guys think about tonight's takeaway from the podcast? I'll start with our newest guest, Langi. Thank you so much, Langi, for jumping on for the first time. Thank you so much for the privilege to be on this podcast. But Langi, yeah, conclude the podcast. What did you take away? What did you learn from the podcast? And how can people find you if you want people to find you? I'm going to post your social media panels on the bottom so people can find you. Go ahead, Langi.
I think this was a great discussion. I'm glad to have been a part of it. I am open-minded even more now being here and hearing different perspectives. I agree and disagree with a lot of different things, but I still stand by you must be the person that you want to attract in a partner. And it looks different for everybody else, for every single person. Some people might want a man that smokes and thinks that's okay, and another person might not. So it's just like whoever you are, that's what you'll attract. And I still stand by that, but I'm so grateful that I was able to be a part of this. So
okay. And real quick, you said you did agree. So what did you agree with? I'm just interested to hear that.
I agree that not all men are bad.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yay!
Thank you. Finally, okay, we can work with that. We can work with that.
Talking 20 minutes with Taniela and they all change their minds.
All right. Well, but I don't need a man. You still on that? Or did you change that?
I'm still on that. I'm
That's
still on
more
that. but
difficult.
not on
It is
that.
40 minutes.
All right,
It's 40 minutes.
okay,
and 20.
okay. I'll take the all minute, man. Okay, I'll take that. Okay, all right. Thank you so much. And Langi, how people can find you? How can they find you?
Follow me on Instagram, Langiofa with 3 A's, or Facebook, Langiofa Aholele. So.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Langi. I appreciate you for joining on. I'll pass it on to Malia. Final thoughts, and how can people find you?
So my final thoughts are, I still think that happiness has a lot to do, but I think happiness, everyone defines it differently. Like with me, happiness is like having a stable marriage, having like someone that is really a good partner, someone who makes me feel safe, and someone who provides stability. So I think it just depends. You need to prioritize what makes you happy. That's what defines like a good relationship, I think. But at the end of the day, I'm going to say it out loud. And I always say it too, is I think I agree with Savage. I think everybody needs to go through that hoe phase. I say that you should go through that hoe phase before settling down in a marriage, because the last thing you want to do is get into a relationship or get married and then fuck up at that point. So get it all out of your system before you settle down, because you don't be an asshole. Don't put that other person, through that shit. That other person doesn't deserve it. So go out there and do your thing. And you can find me on Instagram at Boss Lady Bubba. So follow me, talk shit, do whatever the fuck y'all want. But thank you for having me on the panel, and I appreciate all of you guys. Fatu.
All right, no worries. All right. Thank you, Malia. Thank you, Malia, for sharing your thoughts. Tui, I know you're a walking red flag, but go ahead, share your final thoughts. And
I'm a walking fucking red flag. Like, I'm throwing them up in the air left and right. I'm gonna be single for the rest of my life. It's cool. I like cats. Malia, make a damn TikTok, damn it. If you need to find me on social media, it's _King Tui on TikTok and Instagram. I got banned on I was suspended from Instagram temporarily. So anyway, my final thoughts really, like I kept like replaying what I was saying like over and over, and it's like, I know better. Do better. I have nothing else to say, but ladies, if you're gonna be a hoe, by the way, like what Savage and Malia said, make sure you do it undercover and no one knows, because I imagine it's really hard for you bitches to start over when you were homie hopping. Good luck.
Make sure you live in a big city. That's what you said.
Yeah. All I'm gonna say, if you want to be a hoe, that's fine, but don't blame men when we don't want to choose you. Okay.
I totally want to be a hoe, but like no one wants to sleep with me, so whatever.
All right, no worries. All right, thank you so much, Tui, and shout out to Matasuki, with a $10 super chat. Great show, great panel. Have a good night, everybody. Hey, thank you so much, man. Thank you for the support and watching this whole live stream. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. I'm gonna pass on to the fellas. Final thoughts and how can people find you? I'll start with you, Taniela. Taniela, final thoughts. How can people find you?
First of all, don't find me. And no, it's always thank you for letting me jump on this week's panel. And it's always a privilege to be allowed on the platform and to have these conversations. Some of them we don't always agree, but you know the most important thing is that we walk away knowing a little bit more than what we used to. And these conversations are important to show people that you can agree to disagree in an environment, whereas in society, it's so frowned upon that if you disagree with what I have to say, then you're the bad guy in a sense, right? So these conversations, even though whether we agree or not, having it on this platform and in the manner that we do it is very important because, cancel culture is a thing. And if you don't agree with certain group, you're cancelled. You're not allowed to have these conversations. The second one, the third one would be to any guy. I won't advise the women in the sense, but to any guy who's out there sort of trying to find his own way in life, find things that create meaning in your life. There are responsibilities that you know as a man that you should take up and bear those crosses. Find meaning in those, and you will lead your life with purpose, even if it's something small. The beauty of doing things that create meaning in your life is that it compounds rather than add. So it just adds, it compounds over time, and you'll find your own values. You'll find a way to stand on your own 2 feet. And like I said before, don't be pussies. You were not created with one. You'll never be good at it. So be a man. Be a good man. Cater to society and help people around you. That's all I got to say.
Oh, yeah. 如果whakai'i, yeah? All right.
如果whakai'i.
All right. All right. Thank you so much, Taniela. Siaosi, yeah, same thing, man. Final thoughts. And thank you for jumping on, Siaosi. I know alphas are very busy, but thank you for taking the time to jump on. But yeah, what's your final thoughts? And how can people find you, Siaosi?
I just wanted to say thank you for all the women and all the guys that jump in on our panel today. To me, I've learned a lot of things about, just being able to be better. One of the things that I pick on from today is just enforced, man, that like we men can fake a lot of things and we're good at it too. And also I just wanted to, reemphasize the importance that we should always look for men should always look for the opportunity to take up responsibility and be relentless in whatever you do. Those 2 things have stuck with me, and I think that would be my takeaway today, because it's not taught a lot, especially at home or in the society. But I think it's something that we should help our fellow people know that there is 2 qualities that can help them be better. That doesn't mean that they could be better than anybody else or compare themselves to other people, but it'd be better themselves as a person. Ladies, thank you so much for all the things that you guys shared. I have learned a lot of things myself personally. I got 2 young girls, so I need to start teaching them at a young age so they can be better. Also, I find these conversations a very important conversation because this is needed, especially with our youth. And I'm grateful that you guys jump in to share your thoughts, even though we don't agree, but thinking about it, in the future, kids will start popping up and listening to these conversations, and they will pick nuggets that would help them, guide them throughout their life. And I think that is why we do these connections and conversation, for us to learn from each other, but also help the younger generations. Or they could find a better way to live life than what we gone through. And I know everybody here probably have scars of their own, me especially, but the reason why we're here to help each other grow and hopefully help the future generation be better. So I'm grateful. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I'm trying to keep into the guidelines so I don't get banned. But overall, you can find me on all platforms of social media. I'm trying still to put more content out there to entertain and help. So yeah, thank you so much, you guys.
All right, no worries. Thank you so much, Siaosi, man. And if you want to learn how to dance, yeah, also check out Siaosi's TikTok, man. You got the moves, man. You got the moves. And yeah, Savage, man. Final thoughts, and how can people find you?
Yeah, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Google, OnlyFans, Pornhub. Look, listen, this is my point, right? What I want to tell you right now is that to you, the person in the future, my son or my daughter-in-law, listen good. To you that has chosen my child, my son or my daughter, thank you for choosing them. Thank you for choosing to love them. Thank you for trusting yourself to be with them. I don't know you, but I hope I do in the future. If I'm not alive in that time, this is me. You know, if you tell my children your secrets, they will go to the grave with them. If you tell them your dreams, they will build the foundation to them. And should you make a mistake, my child will help you through it. I would only ask that you do the same for them. And if I am alive, walk into the room and hug me and say, "Hey, man, you were right." But other than that, yeah, I would just hope and pray that anybody that took something away from this, I'm not valid. I'm not qualified to speak on this. So if I offended or disrespected you in any way, I apologize and ask forgiveness. I often do get rowdy sometimes, but I'm just growing as a human being. I'm a human being experienced by mind, body, and spirit. And with that being said, I love each and every one of you. Thank you to my panel. And, you know, wherever you may go, safe and protection over all of you. Thank you.
All right, no worries. All right, thank you, Savage, man. Appreciate it. Malo Toko. And Fatty, final thoughts, and how can people find you?
I'm still trying to figure it out. What's the real Savage and what's the WWE character? Because when he talks like this and then when he talks on the show, I really don't understand where he fits. But it's
all
an
him.
amusing.
It's all him. Like
It's
just you've seen different sides. That's all.
It's an amusing ride.
Will's
and I
paying
hope-
me to say this shit. Will's lying. He's paying me to say all this shit.
To seed controversy and get super shits.
You're the Dunzo. I'm the
Yeah. He's the villain of the show. But I hope Daniel can be on the show so we can talk it out, because we are men and we understand that sometimes shit talk happens. But I hope, like last week he was here, and I hope he comes here with Savage and we can talk it out, because even though we don't agree with each other, we come from different standpoints, different experience, some more analytical, some more personal, and it's great. I'm thankful that this program was not it was in English, so I can understand what you guys saying, because sometimes you start talking on the chat and here, and I really get blinded. And I hope that we have more full houses like this one and on the chat, because Will deserve it. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of unseen work. So I hope in like 1 year I can be sitting watching on YouTube with thousands of people watching, and I can't get in because the house is full and everybody is talking and nobody gets offended, and the guys that open it up the show can finish it too and go on their way and learn about what you're talking right here. So thanks for having me, and I will try to get my English a little bit better. On the mornings, if you want to have a show like in 5 hours, that would be great. But I know you can. So see you next week. Thank you.
All right, no worries, Fatty. Thank you. Thank you so much for jumping on, fellas and ladies. The one thing I'll just leave with you guys real quick. I forgot to share it. And when you guys were talking about how a lot of men will fake confidence, a lot of women will fall for that. So my advice to women is don't look for confidence, look for competence. Because a man that's competent will naturally be confident. But you can fake being confident, but doesn't mean you're competent, if that makes sense. So a man that's working himself to be good at something, naturally through the process. And for men out there that don't know how to be confident, just be competent. Work on being good at one thing and learn how to progress. And naturally, you just get confident as you progress and get better. I just wanted to share that. I'm so happy that Langi, one of our conversations, got changed Langi. She doesn't see us the same way. And she loves all men. And that's the power of these conversations. If you guys watching this right now, whether you are in part of the world, especially if you're Pacific Islander, I wish we have more of these conversations, because a lot of times I believe because we don't have these tough conversations, having opposing views, people don't get to see a different perspective and can help people learn. I learn something every single time on this podcast, whether or not we agree or disagree. But it's something I just want to appreciate, and something I want to make it a normalized thing in our community, not only with us Pacific Islanders, but everybody in the world. Just wanted to say thank you so much. We had a great panel tonight. I cannot stress enough all you guys. I know I say it all the time, but just want to say to the panel directly, all you guys, Malia, Savage, Fatty, Siaosi, Tui, Langi, and Taniela, thank you so much, man, for always coming on here. It means a lot to me, and it just gets me excited to make great shows for you guys, because I know I have great people behind me and support me and be part of this. So thank you so much, everybody watching. Malo, Apito. And we do this every single Wednesday. whether you agree or disagree. And like I said, be open to be part of the conversation. And thank you so much for our newest guest, Langi. Hopefully we can see you more. hopefully more. And I love you guys. And I hate to say this, but stay happy, y'all. But I just have to say it. I guess.
Hashtag happy penis.
Happy penis.
Happy penis.
or cats. Happy cats. All right. Bye, guys.